Coach Karl
sucks.
He does over the last decade. What's their best run? Was it with Bam when they went to the Elite Eight?
Well, in 15, they went to the Final Four, but since then, hell, in the last 5 years, they've won one playoff game. They've won one SEC tournament game.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Sanford comes from 22 down. Golly.
What are you eating, David? Cereal?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's always nice to have a great first husband, Paula. Oh, man.
All right. Here we go.
Let's do this.
Big Friday.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. We are proud to say for the first time in a long time, it is not a football Friday. And oh, how glorious of a day yet it is. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton. That's who we are. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X is how you can track us down, get a hold of us, send us a message, all that sort of thing. I'm sorry. What's that sound? What's that? What are you doing? Are you ripping up your bracket?
There it is. That was fun. Thank goodness I can gamble in Florida because my bracket's shot. This tournament sucks.
Well, if the sanctity of your bracket was the determining factor of the tournament's greatness, then, yeah.
Oakland.
Hello.
Oakland. Not the Raiders. Oakland University.
The Golden Grizzlies, Mark.
Right.
They're not just the Grizzlies. No. We're golden.
Wear the bear, baby.
Are you flipping kidding me?
Wow. How much fun was that?
So I ran out at halftime of that game to get ice cream because it was needed. And I'm listening to the radio. and they start going through the numbers of Golke and another one of the shooters from Oakland that have no, like, I think Golke had like two pointers in the last.
Yes. All he does is chuck.
Right, it just chucks.
Right. He has attempted for the season 8 shots inside the arc.
Right. And as he's making all these first efforts, I had to give it up to the radio guys who said, you think Kentucky might have checked the stats before and guarded this guy.
Although a couple of them
were
from the parking lot.
Yeah, from his hip.
I mean, how about the one late first half? 28 feet minimum. He banks it in from right of the circle, gets up, looks at the ref, and goes, it's fouled. Ref's like, the bank's open on a Thursday night. Leave it alone.
Yes, those kind of heat checks, that's as classic March Madness as it gets. Sounds like shtick, sounds cliche, but that's the truth. We get one of these games every year. That was so fun.
So how many of us were screaming at the television? I mean, don't get me wrong. And I had Kentucky going to the Elite Eight. I don't care. This is too much fun. And so I'm torn as it's happening. Then I start yelling at the TV, boxing one. How about a boxing one? Anybody ever heard of this? The kid in high school who's tearing you up. You boxing one. Hello? And then finally late, Cal even does that, goes to a boxing one. I'm like, well, 13 million a year or what have you. All right. It finally came up with something. Man, was that fun.
He just kept making them.
Yes. And he just kept chucking them.
Damn right.
By the way, tell me if you're a shooter, and I don't know how many years Campy's got left because he's nearly 70 and he's been at Oakland 40 years. But let me tell you, if you're a chucker, you tell me you don't want to go play for him? Keep shooting. What are you going to tell your team at halftime? Keep shooting.
And Big Blue Nation.
Oh, man.
When's football season start?
Oh, no. Oh, no. First off, did anybody just for humor? Remember late in yesterday's show, we had Dave in the Cape who was helping us out with the good, the bad, and the ugly as it was going on. He was sending us notes.
Right.
All right. He's a Louisville fan.
Happiest he's been in a year.
2 years. He texted me and he said, happiest I've been in at least 3 years for basketball. Do you know what I'm going to do to amuse myself? I'm going to go online and listen to the Kentucky post game and call-in shows.
Of course. Why not?
That's a rivalry. That's fandom right there. Your most bitter rivals, very painful loss. How'd you celebrate? I listened to the post-game call-in show. And I went on their message boards just to see what they were saying. One of which crashed 20 minutes after the loss. Oh, man. Buyout's $33 million, by the way.
Good luck.
If you're thinking about it. Oh, no.
They gave them an hour and a half if they wanted it.
I was going to say, I think if they, had an online auction after the game last night, they'd already have it.
They may have it without the online auction, David.
Yes, I think so. I think so. This is one of those moments in which they go, you know what? I don't even know who's going to replace him. I don't care. Just don't want to see his face anymore. Got to go.
It's starting to get that way around there. They're angry.
Yes, they are.
Coach Cal.
Yes, they are. And they're blaming him. They're not blaming the players. A couple of whom they could blame, to be honest. But, they're kids. All of a sudden, Mark, they became kids again.
They're selectively kids, David.
True. Especially if they're a homegrown product. Then they're kids.
Well, it's interesting. Now, before they were paid.
Right.
Before they were paid, the kids' argument, even though they were getting money in a brown paper bag, the kids' argument worked. Now when these kids are making somewhere between $300,000 and $3 million a year, are they really kids anymore?
Well, they're rich kids. So there's that angle to it as well. This is how great the tournament is. A team that's favored, that is the better seed, can win a game and it feels like an upset. Because Dayton coming from what, 17 down with 7 minutes to go?
Yeah.
I mean, to end the game on a 24-4 run and to come back and beat Nevada, oldest team of the tournament, by the way. Remember, Drake, Nevada, veteran team, star players on them who can get you a bucket to stop a run. Experienced coaches, for goodness sakes. I mean, people are going to blame Steve Alford. He called 3 timeouts. 3 timeouts. I mean, at some point, the kids have to stop choking. He can only do so many Heimlichs. But that's when you knew late in the afternoon, when Dayton ended the game on a 24-4 run. And even though they were this better seed, it felt like an upset.
Well, Nevada, I think, was favored in that game by 1.5 when it was all
Were
said
they?
and done.
Okay, I thought Dayton by 1.5, but all right. I do know if you took the points yesterday, you went 7-9. So it was a strange day, despite all the seeded upsets that we had. Because we had 5, is it lower seeds that technically won? I always get that wrong. So we had 5 lower seeds win if you count Michigan State in the 8-9 game. That's another thing when I knew, wow, we're going to have a crazy day today. Because Michigan State was hitting shots. I'm like, what's going on here?
Trent and I watched the game together. It was fun to watch Izzo, who has out-of-body experiences in the regular season. The same mistake happens, and he's bringing the kid over and hugging him.
Right. Well, it's Izzo. Okay, during the month of Izzo, all right, we get hugs. December, January, February, not so much.
No, he pulls his hair out.
Right. But the Ides of Izzo, come here. Come here. Try not to do that again, okay, son?
Cherry on top, too. Maybe the mid-majors that win their conference tournament shouldn't make the tournament. Maybe that, too.
And then, so do we want replay in college basketball? Oh, man.
No, we don't, because there's too many teams, too many games, and it wouldn't work.
I know. That was a bummer last night, though, if you didn't stay up to watch. 4-13 game. Kansas, Sanford. Sanford's down 22. They cut it all the way down to 1. Kansas players going in for what he thinks a breakaway dunk. And the Sanford kid from behind blocks the dunk cleanly from behind.
Cleanly.
Gets the back end of the ball cleanly and knocks the ball out of the kid's hands. A clean block. No body contact at all. Sanford would have had, that was 15 seconds to go when he's going up to dunk it. Would have put him up 3. He blocks it. And Sanford literally would have had a 5-on-4 coming back in transition the other way with 13, 14 seconds to go, down 1. Foul called. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Tell you what, you knew who the Big 12 fans were on X last night, Mark. Because all of a sudden, all these fan bases take to X and go, yeah, we've been seeing those calls for 30 years. Oh, okay. All right.
Well, now Kansas, we talked about how they got to get through this first weekend. They got to play Gonzaga.
Yeah, they shouldn't. Well, I don't know. I mean, Sanford still had to come down and score. There's no guarantee that they score the bucket.
Yep, that's right. But they would have had a chance to take the lead / win. Instead, he hits the free throws. They're down 3. They miss it. They lose by 4. Terrific game, though. And hell with the 5-12s. Mark, where's the place to go if you're looking for a seeded upset?
A little 6-11 action.
The 11s went 3-0. In all different ways, too. Miller and Moulton. The tournament is off to a tremendous start. Happy Friday.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA-certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I cannot wait for when is Texas A&M and Nebraska? That's tonight it's tonight, right? Like it's not during the day. I think it's an evening game.
It is 6:50 on TNT.
That's a big one for the show. That's Lee's Final Four. Nebraska going for their first tournament win.
SEC did not have a good day yesterday.
No.
They went 1-3, I think. First game of the day today, FAU.
Northwestern's coach is Doug Collins' son, Chris Collins.
Yes.
Great guy.
And you know that how?
Just from covering Big Ten hoops.
Gotcha. Okay.
He's just really nice. Always gave
Good.
his reporters the time of day. A lot of coaches don't.
True. Izzo's still good that way.
Oh, he's awesome. I always say this. I was so lucky to figure out what I love doing by covering Tom Izzo's teams. Like the learning experiences, the good, the bad, all that stuff. Doing it around, in that environment, that was really cool.
Sure. Multi-grain Cheerios, Spitz. That's what it was.
So after this, I think the plan is I'm going to there's some tiki bar in Cape Coral. I think I'm going to meet my aunt and uncle there, and it's called The Cure. You get 2 drinks and a burger for $12.
Nice.
You can get like 2 mimosas, screwdrivers, or Bloody Marys. It's the
hangover cure.
Yes.
Nice. That's solid.
So that's how we're going to start the day. Look out. Not just the day, the weekend.
I was going to say.
Enjoy the rain at the tiki bar.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's not going to be a nice day.
That FAU Northwestern game's got to get off to a good start.
Yeah. Smith says won't be crowded. Correct.
Yes, Kilos, you saw the score correctly. Well,
Paul, that's on you. Anybody that goes back to Michigan in March and bitches about the snow, that is 100% on you, young lady.
But to be there when that win happened last night, that would have been pretty cool. All the locals are happy. Here we go.
6 of them.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. The starting 5 is coming up. Miller and Moulton and the madness. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Mark, just to review, we should have known that yesterday was going to be a dramatic, upset-filled day, and that our brackets, which we had a decent feeling about our brackets, even though we had 2 totally different brackets, we each had a decent feeling about our brackets. We didn't think we were winning any contests, but we thought, these aren't bad. There's some sound reasoning behind this decision-making here, at least in your case. I mean, I'm always a little shaky, 12s and 13s and a couple of 12s going to the Sweet 16. That's me. But, Mark, if we were sure of anything, I mean, literally out of 67 games that were going to be played in this tournament, if we were sure of the outcome of a single game, what game was it?
BYU was going to destroy Duquesne. Duquesne had no business being an 11 seed. The rock fight in which they won the A-10 tournament was some of the most horrific basketball that we'd ever watched. In fact, we thought it set back the game maybe a decade, maybe more.
And also, BYU is a metrics darling. I mean, they had the net ranking, all that stuff. We love the net. We were
we
don't this one.
We don't love the net, but we use the net sometimes to back up certain thought processes. And yes, BYU, 12th best team, according to the net. Hell, 16th best team in the country, according to Ken Palm. BYU's not a 6. Hell, they're not even a 5. BYU is a 4. And Duquesne was the 6th seed in the A10 tournament. So what the are they doing getting an 11 seed? This was a 4-13 matchup at the very least. At the very least. Mark, what was the final?
Well, Duquesne won.
Yes, they did. As a 9.5-point underdog. And by the way, we were not alone, because when the spread came out on the game, it was a 7.5-point spread. There was no game outside of like the 116s where all the money comes in on North Carolina and it goes up a couple 2-3 points. There was no game in which the line moved more than on BYU Duquesne, and all the money was coming in on the Cougars.
And Duquesne won by 4, but it wasn't really that close because they were in control the entire game.
Led, I think, the whole game.
Yes.
And
they got off to like a 10-0 start.
And then you kept waiting for BYU to turn it on. It actually looked like they did. And David, Mark and I, funny enough, were keeping an eye on the live line as it kept moving.
We almost lost more money on that game. We were on the verge of betting that game live.
We could not believe how bad BYU looked.
So when BYU cut it to 2.
No. When BYU was down 10, we were thinking about rolling BYU at -0.5. No. David, it wasn't when it got close. It was at halftime. It was we were locked into the live line and going, if you're going to do this, you have to bet BYU again. And fortunately, we didn't, because we would have just lost more money.
We had some great post-game interviews yesterday in the NCAA tournament. The Duquesne coach, who's retired, who was LeBron's high school coach, 65 years old. He's announced his retirement. After winning the A10, he said, I'm done. I don't have the energy to keep doing this going forward. And so they win. Did you see the interview? He says to the young lady, he goes, I'm trying to retire and these kids won't let me. He goes, I've got the promised land location and everything all picked out. They still want to keep playing. I don't know what to tell you. Good for him and them.
Absolutely.
So the play. Here's $20. You can only bet one game in the NCAA tournament. Miller and Moulton were like, that's easy. BYU, lay the points. Besides, they're all 34 years old. I mean, come on. Those are men they're playing there. I mean, there's practically Stockton and Malone on the court for them. I mean, come on. You're going to beat Duquesne? No, it's the madness.
So a bunch of 11s win.
Everyone that was scheduled to play yesterday. 3 out of the 4. Do they go 4-0? I mean, New Mexico's the 11 against Clemson.
Probably not. I picked them.
I did too, so I guess. So
load up on Clemson. That would be my advice to you right now.
I was going to say, so do we bet Clemson then?
Probably should.
By the way, that one of all of them was probably the heaviest lean towards the 11. I don't know anyone. I haven't talked to anyone who picked Clemson.
The other 6-11s, Oregon is the 11, handled South Carolina. And
NC State.
Yeah.
Beat Texas Tech in the inter-squad scrimmage.
Right.
Between the red and black. I did. Because I love the big fella for NC State.
He is something. Did you see? You said you kind of fell asleep midway through the nightcap and then woke up after that. Did you see he was literally throwing hip checks, setting screens and throwing hip checks last night.
His charging call that he was given And I think it was second half. They start blending together, but they kind of body one another, and they kind of body one another again. And he kind of just decides that there's no way a third time you're going to be standing after I body you. And he threw a shoulder into that kid, sent him about 3 feet. They call a charge, and he looks at the referee like, what do you mean charge? And he just flattened the guy.
DJ Burns is who we're talking about.
DJ Burns
Big
Jr.,
man,
my man.
6'9", 275. He talked
275,
about how
my hind end.
275. What is he standing on the scale with one leg? 275.
he talked about how he grew up idolizing Hakeem Olajuwon. You can see some of that with his footwork and stuff, but he goes, unfortunately, I just ended up with a Zach Randolph build. he knows what's going on. He's not tone deaf.
He does. He's got good feet. I mean,
he really does.
He really does. You can see even Olajuwon, a couple of those low post moves are like, yeah, there you go, son. That's how you do it.
But he admits, he knows that he's one of the darlings of this tournament. Everyone loves the NC State run and the ACC tournament. All eyes are on him. He's like, look, I don't know what to tell you. I loved Hakeem growing up. I ended up with a Zach Randolph build.
But now they get Oakland.
Yes,
they're a game away from the Sweet 16.
Gotta love when a little mini pod opens up, and next thing you know, you got an 11-14 matchup, and one of them's going to the second week of the tournament. How great is that? He threw a hip check, and just picture, he's 6'10". What do you think? 350?
300.
Yeah. And he has got a lot of it in the caboose. He is wide-bodied, if you can picture it, if you haven't seen him. And there's a kid from Texas Tech who's trying to get around him. And he decides, I'm not going to let him. And at the last second, he just flicks out the caboose. Boom! And that kid runs into it. And literally, it's as if he ran into a car. And he is laying on the court holding his chest. Like, oh, the fender got me. Oh, was that an Oldsmobile?
May have been a Delta 88. He's got the size, I'm telling you right now.
He does. He's got one of those trunks you used to be able to put 4 sets of golf clubs in. The starting 5 is next.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GIA certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commissioned and educational presentation, and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from 1/2 carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. We're listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. No, you were right. We talked about it, Empire. We mentioned it on the show. Read their schedule.
Kilos, literally, he made more threes last night than he's attempted twos for the season. He attempted 8 shots so far on the season that were not three-pointers.
I had a buddy last night text me and he said, "Why didn't you tell me that Oakland had a white kid who has taken 8 twos this season? I would have picked him in a heartbeat."
I will say, late in the first half, because he hit, 7 of them in the first half?
Yeah.
Okay, when he gets going in the first half, I literally thought of Felipe and thought, oh my goodness, he'd be playing that Mike Breen bang sounder one after the other right now.
David, you know what makes it even better is Felipe had Kentucky winning it all. I'm not making this up.
You should just send him the Mike Breen sounder. Bang! And then just keep calling him. Bang!
Yeah, I haven't texted him or anything, but yesterday, like before the action started, I said, "Did you fill out a bracket?" He goes, "Of course. I got Kentucky cutting down the nets."
There you go.
There you
go.
First round.
It's tough to lose your national champion on night 1. I mean, Mark feels badly. He lost a Final Four team.
And that happens at the end of a really good day of basketball, too.
I know, Dratharian, when he banked in that 3 late first half, it's one of those moments in which you go, Although, let's be honest, Morehead State's playing Illinois yesterday, and they get to that moment, like 2 segments into the second half, and you're thinking, wow, okay, Morehead State's going to stick around. And at that moment, Illinois destroyed them.
Same thing,
Arizona and
Long Beach State. Long Beach State's right there the whole first half, and then all of a sudden, boom.
Boom.
Akron, Illinois, similar.
Yep.
Mark was not happy with Illinois the first half.
Well, you got to remember, we had just watched Duquesne BYU, although I laughed when Mark goes, well, maybe there's a chance of overtime. And then I'm thinking to myself, boy, wouldn't this be the greatest cover ever?
Ever.
Win by double digits in OT.
Exactly.
We're both rooting for BYU. My mother-in-law there, she's a Duquesne grad. We got to kind of, keep it just a little bit quiet.
Oh, I kept forgetting, and I kept I turned around at one point. I was like, I'm not rooting against your school. I'm just rooting for my bracket. It's not personal.
It's one of the worst first rounds I've ever had on a bracket.
Well, 3 11s and a 14 winning.
Right, and I picked a bunch of 10s to win who didn't.
Right.
Drake, who else? Who else you pick?
Nevada.
Oh, okay. That's right. Forgot that game.
Colorado State.
Oh.
They scored 11 in the first half.
That was I bought what they were selling in the first 4, and that
11
did not work out well.
11.
I only went 9 and 7 straight up yesterday.
Right.
And I got 6 of the first 7 right.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. How's your week been? How's your bracket? Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Ah, it's the best, isn't it? It's simply the best. And to think that they want to change this. Morons. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
So, how many people go to Oakland? About 612? I mean, how big is this school? They were a D2 school up till 25 years ago. They've had the same coach for 40 years, Greg Campy. And he's done a good job there. They've won a bunch of games. They've gone to the tournament a couple of handfuls of times. But it's a small school in just outside Detroit, right?
Correct.
Auburn Hills.
Okay. Is Kentucky the bluest of blue bloods?
Yes.
I mean,
believe it or not, Oakland's a decent sized school. There are 20,000 students, 16,000 undergrads.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
A little bit bigger than you thought.
Yes.
But it's a commuter school.
Yeah, my apologies to the Golden Grizzlies. Yeah, they beat Kentucky in a 3-14 matchup. They hit 15 threes, 10 of them from Jack Golke. Jack Golke is going to get to choose, much like Stetson Bennett. Does he want to own insurance or does he want to own car dealerships outside the greater Detroit area over the course of the next 40 years? 10 threes, 32 points. Oakland held off Kentucky 80-76. They are the 23rd 14 seed to win. If you think about it, we went to 64 teams in 85. And if you take the 1 year that the tournament got canceled, this is the 39th tournament. And this is the 23rd 14 seed to win. So roughly 60%. So not every other year, little better ratio than that, but not quite 2 out of every 3 years does a 14 win a game. But the Golden Grizzlies did last night. John Calipari's buyout's $33 million. Kentucky has won 1 NCAA tournament game since 2019. They've won 1 SEC tournament game since 2019. Up until the last 3 years, Kentucky had never, ever lost a game in the tournament to a team seeded 12 or, what's it, technically lower? Right.
Correct.
Remember, 2 years ago, they lost to 15th seeded St. Peter's. And now they just lost to 14 seeded Oakland. Excuse me. Scott Drew on line 1. I think they come up with the money. I do. The AD hates him.
Based on some of the things I'm seeing from message boards that are being reposted on X, I don't know if there's anybody that likes him.
Not anymore, except for the players. Anyway, Oakland's going to face NC State next in a 14-11 second-round contest because the Wolfpack, do you remember when they were down 3 in the ACC semis and all Virginia had to do in the final 5 seconds was foul? And they didn't, and that kid banked in the 30-footer, forced overtime, and they won. Then they won the ACC tournament, and now they won an NCAA tournament game for the first time in 9 years. They beat Texas Tech 80-67. So there's your little sub-bracket there that blew up last night. Yep.
Right? And the Gators are sitting there not having played a game yet going, look at that.
Wow. I'll be darned. So maybe we go on a run. So anyway, we had NC State was one of 3 11s that won. Duquesne held off BYU 71-67. Oregon took care of South Carolina in the second half, 87-73. So the 11 seeds are 3-0. They've had 3 11s and a 14 win on day one. Michigan State, the 9, won the only 8-9 game of the day. They beat Mississippi State, and they beat them comfortably. Not a good day for the SEC. They went 1-3. And not only that, the Big 12 looked a little vulnerable. Texas Tech, BYU, Kansas. Kansas survived Sanford last night in a 4-13 matchup, 93-89. A very controversial, a blown call, quite frankly, a flat blown call. All right. Helped Kansas when they were up 1 with 15 seconds to go. Should have been Sanford ball with a chance to take the lead or win. And, Kansas got the benefit of the call, hit free throws and won. They'll face Gonzaga next, who heard the likes of Trent Bally and David Moulton saying, it's McNeal State. Well, Wade, all right, they've lost 1 game since Thanksgiving. All right, he can really coach. They can really play. Gonzaga said,
when they're playing Mississippi School for Women.
And winning and covering, though. But, Gonzaga took it personally.
Yeah, they whacked them.
It wasn't even as close as the 86-65 final. So here's what we're looking at. We're looking at Carolina, Michigan State in the second round, 1-9 matchup. We're looking at a couple 2-7s, Arizona, Dayton, Tennessee, Texas. Both Tennessee and Texas won comfortably. We got a 3-11 matchup of Creighton and Oregon. We got the 11-14 matchup of NC State and Oakland. All right. We got Illinois and Duquesne, a 3-11 matchup. We got the Gonzaga-Kansas matchup. And then we've got Iowa State, Washington State. Drake did it again. 8-point lead heading down the stretch, and they choked like big dogs. Again, that DeVries kid, the coach's son, couldn't put the ball in the ocean when it counted. Second tournament in a row. Unbelievable.
He's slow. I mean, I loved watching him play, but he's slow.
So Drake lost. I'll tell you what, if it was a team, even more so than you, I know your bracket, in a sense, is more blown up than mine because you had Kentucky in the Final Four. But all the team, I liked Sanford. Yeah, they lost. Looked good, but lost. I like McNeal State.
They didn't look good.
I like Drake.
They looked good for a while.
And I bet my condo on BYU. So I had a good day. Hey, FAU Northwestern gets things started at noon today. Stetson's going to lose to UConn. That one starts a little before 3:00. The Gators 4:30 TBS against Colorado. And 2 1 seeds in action today, Purdue and Houston tonight. And we have 3 5-12s. Remember, the 12 got blown out yesterday. A 12 didn't win a game in the tournament last year. So we have 3 5-12 matchups today and tonight. For the record, a 9, 3 11s, and a 14 were winners in the first day of the tournament. Women's basketball, their full field tournament gets underway today. South Carolina and Texas, a couple number ones are in action. Defending champ LSU is as well. Florida State plays Alabama at 5:30 on ESPN2. And Miami head coach Katie Meyer retired after 19 years and 10 trips to the NCAA tournament. She'll stick around and basically pick her successor and continue to raise money for the program. They should hire FGCU's Karl Smesko. I don't think Katie Meyer would let that happen. She's not a fan. So don't know who they're going to hire. But I got money that it's not Smesko. NBA. How about the Magic? They won 18 of 23. They're guaranteed a winning season this year. They beat New Orleans by 15. Couple that with the Knicks losing in Denver. They're a half a game ahead of the Knicks. The Magic are the 4th seed right now in the East. Thank you very much. Washington beat Sacramento. I mentioned that because now they're tied with Detroit for 12 wins. So there. And the G League's folding. Adam Silver hinted at it at the All-Star game. And it's like, why do we need the G League for? We formed the G League 4 years ago so that guys who didn't want to go to college could get paid to play basketball. And Adam Silver's basically saying, well, with NIL, we have that now. So no reason to continue the G League. In fact, they're making more than we were paying. NHL, 5th straight win for the Lightning. Once again, same formula, Mark. Braden Point, 2 goals. Kucherov, 4 assists. And they got a Vasilevsky in between the pipes and a Hedman who's playing 26 to 30 minutes a game. They've won 5 in a row. Anybody want to play them in the first round of playoffs? Panthers all of a sudden having trouble scoring goals and winning games. Oh, what's going on, boys? Huh? Nashville beat them 3-0. Panthers are 3 points back of the Bruins. They do have 2 games in hand, however. Rangers beat the Bruins last night. Artemi Panarin with a hat trick, 5-2 over Boston. Carolina with the overtime goal over Philly, 3-2. Flyers are 4 points clear of Washington for the final playoff spot, but Caps have 2 games in hand. Big win for the Wings, 6-3 over the Islanders. They're 3 points ahead of the Caps, but the Caps have 2 games in hand on them for the final wild card.
Well, the MVP's back, David. Dylan Larkin came back, and that's apparently all that it would take.
There you go. I didn't realize that the Wings picked up Connor McDavid at the deadline. Good for them. Jersey 4-1 over Winnipeg. They're 6 points behind Detroit. I did that just for Seth. So the Padres beat the Dodgers 15-11. 15-11. That game counts in the standings. Both teams are 1-1. Other baseball notes, Ohtani did not talk yesterday, but he and his people are asking for an investigation into the theft of his money, which is funny because there are 2 $500,000 checks that have his signature on them.
Right.
But anyway, Rays DH Jonathan Aranda is going to open the season on the IL. He has a broken right ring finger. He's not going to play till like mid-May. And the Mets signed DH JD Martinez, 1 year, $12 million. The Valspar is underway in Palm Harbor. Kevin Streelman with a 1-shot lead at 7 under. 7 under is the leading scorer at the Seri Pak Championship in California. Canadian Maud LeBlanc with the lead. When you name your kid Maud, you got to hope she's good at something, right?
It really sounds like she should be playing in that professional hockey league. Maud LeBlanc sounds like a hell of a left winger for
I agree.
Ottawa women's hockey league team.
I agree. Just throw it in the corner and let Maud go get it. Right.
Maud the grinder.
20-year-old American sensation Rose Zhang is T7 at 3 under. And soccer, did you see how we pulled out a win in the Nations League? So Jamaica's undermanned, and we're big favorites, and we're losing 1-0 literally in the final 30 seconds of stoppage time. And we score a header, which technically went off a Jamaican to tie it up. And then in the 30-minute OT, we score twice and we win 3-1. People want Berhalter fired as much as they want Calipari fired, for those in the soccer world. They want Greg Berhalter out. Finally, Florida Supreme Court ruled in favor of Florida and DeSantis and the Seminole Tribe. They said that the West Flagler and the Bonita Fort Myers Corporation, your petition to challenge the Seminoles Gaming Compact, there's really no sense doing it to us. We're not the proper place to do it. They basically said, go to the Supreme Court. Good luck. So there we have it. We'll see if the court will take up the case in the next 90 days. Nothing riding on this or anything. It's just a 30-year betting monopoly. Nothing
for the whole
to see
country.
here.
It's not just Florida. This is nationwide. This changes betting everywhere. That's
Exactly.
how big this case is.
Right. No big deal. It's only changing federal law. That's been on the books for over 50 years. So nothing to see here. And it's 7 minutes before the hour. That was
the starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
So there you go. I think you got it all in.
Oh, you definitely got it all in. Didn't even really have to go NFL today.
No, in fact, I don't even know if I wrote any down. But
I don't think you did.
But we got Pat Kirwan coming on in an hour. We'll take care of what's going on. There's stuff going on. I just I didn't have the time. It's madness, baby. It's the first time in like 8 months it's not a football Friday.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Two things. One, I don't think the G League folded. I think the G League Ignite team folded. The developmental team folded. I don't think the whole league folded.
Oh.
I read it as the Ignite folded, the
Gotcha.
team. But
Okay.
neither here nor there. I don't think we're going to spend a lot of time talking about it. And secondly, what are we thinking for a poll question?
I mean, I think it's got to be something related to Calipari, right? Or Kentucky. Or maybe today's action.
John Calipari's buyout is $33 million. If you're Kentucky, What do you do? A, he stays. B, he goes. Yeah, how about that Long Beach State AD? Did you see his comments?
No.
Was interviewed like an hour or so before the game and basically said, well, I fired him when I did, hoping to inspire the team.
Uh-huh.
And then he literally says, so I don't want to take credit for this, but this is what I was hoping for.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
John Calipari's buyout is $33 million. Do you think Kentucky will buy him out to get rid of him? Right?
Or just ask to buy him. Do you think Kentucky will buy him out? Well, I don't. So do you want to guess on Kentucky's action or do you want to ask people what they would do?
I'd rather guess on Kentucky's action.
Because most people will say fire him. Okay.
Well, I don't, not to be a jerk here, I don't care what,
Okay, that's fine. Just asking.
I know people will probably get, if they just read the question, I'll get, vernacular because I went with he gone, he will stay.
He gone. Thank you, Hawk. He gone.
He gone. He
Listen,
gone,
that-
David.
March was not good for the state of Kentucky.
Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. Trent Bally and the play of the day. Trent, are you going to have 10 of them? After all, Jack Golke hit 10 threes. Just curious, how much Golke are we getting?
We're getting plenty of Golke.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know how many of the Mike Breen bang calls I can throw in there for you, but yes.
So we don't have a poll question.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, great.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Okay. What do you got?
You can tease it all you want, but we've got a poll question.
Well, what do you got?
You came up with the poll question. It was basically your question. And it's got to be about John Calipari.
Oh, okay.
His buyout's $33 million. Do you think Kentucky will buy him out?
I do.
I do too.
And I don't say that lightly. I do. Even though we've said many times, okay, you want to make a change, who are you going to change to? I do think it might be to the point, Mark, in which Kentucky's just like, yeah, I don't care. Let's start with who? Don't care. Don't care. We'll do the best we can. We'll just hire somebody else, anybody else. All right, that just doesn't look like them. Get them out of here.
So I've got a pretty good friend whose wife is a Kentucky alum.
Okay.
And she's not a rational person. At least not outside of business, because she's a teacher. So she's a good teacher. But when it comes to Kentucky basketball,
right,
she loses all common sense, all rational thoughts.
Right.
She is a diehard.
Everything that makes her a great teacher. You want your kid going to her as a teacher, right? Thank goodness she's my kid's teacher. All of that greatness leaves her when it concerns Big Blue.
So yesterday at around 8:30, a group text starts in which
Uh-oh.
one of my buddies simply asks her husband, wellness check on the ex-residents.
Right.
And her husband, who I know is sitting right with her watching the game, says when you don't play defense and you don't rebound, you kind of expect to be down. She's surprisingly calm. Eerily calm, LOL. And that's the point at which the fan base is. They are not used to it, but they're becoming more comfortable with the numbness of what's going on at Kentucky. And that's a bad sign.
Well, I think up until last night, they just thought they were married to Cal, that it was, a forever thing. And then after last night, though, Mark, I really think that a large part of the fan base is going to go, okay, so how much would the divorce cost? Well, it'd be pretty painful, and it cost $33 million, and I don't know what house you're going to be sleeping in after the divorce. And I think that there's still a healthy chunk of the fan base that's like, yeah, I got to admit, I don't care. I don't care. Just start the divorce proceedings. I'll sleep in the back of a car. I don't know. I've got friends. I'll figure. It might take a while, but we'll figure it out.
When a guy who was playing D2 ball last year lights you up all night long.
Right. Not only that, it was a shock, Mark, that he shot all those threes, considering if you took a look at the stat sheet coming into the game. Mark, what did it tell you?
Shot 2 2s all year long.
Well, he shot 8.
No, 8, sorry.
So, Mark, to review, he made more threes last night than he's attempted 2s
for the year.
For the year, right? Gotcha. Yep. Hey, who had the advanced scout for Oakland? Huh? Yeah, you. You're fired.
And it's one thing, David, if somehow you caught this team on Saturday and you had one day to prepare and you got caught off guard, it happens. It shouldn't anymore, but it happens. They knew they were playing.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
And Coach Cal seemed to think that his normal defense would just take care of business.
Well, it worked okay in the SEC. Tell you what, though, don't bring that defense to the horizon. Besides, I got 4 and 5 stars here. And like you said, that kid's a transfer from where?
Hillsdale College.
Hell, I can't even schedule them. I don't even get credit for a win if we schedule them.
I think McNeese State scheduled them. Or McNeese. They're no longer state. They're just McNeese.
What, did they lose their statetum last night? I mean, is that how bad the performance was? But anyway. So, yeah. All right. And I actually do. I think they're calling Scott Drew. I don't know who you call. I mean, you can't. They tried the Billy Gillespie route once, as somebody in his 40s who'd been working his way up, had some success. This is a job. This is a job. Like Dusty May. He may have his choice between Louisville or Michigan. And then there's the Kentucky job.
You may be right on Drew. The first call I make's the guy that's on set right now, just to make sure he doesn't want to take it.
Well, yes, Jay Wright.
No, that's the first.
I agree.
You let him tell you no first.
I agree. You do know what I would do. And I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. You know exactly what I would do.
No.
Don't you laugh at me.
No, you wouldn't.
Drop dead serious. Drop dead serious. What would I do?
You would not.
What would I do?
You wouldn't go get Patino.
You damn right I would. And I'm not talking about the Sun. You damn right I would.
Rick Pitino's 167 years old.
He wins. You think that kid scores 32 if Rick Pitino's coaching Kentucky yesterday? You think they lose to Oakland if Rick Pitino's coaching Kentucky? That's a very simple question. I am not playing around. If Rick Pitino was coaching Kentucky last night, do they win or lose?
They won.
Thank you. What is this all about?
Well, it's about winning. It's about winning.
What is Kentucky playing basketball for?
To win national championships.
Thank you.
Period. End of sentence.
Thank you. So what are we doing? What are we doing? Very simple question. Who's the best coach who's alive? And if somebody goes, Coach K, nah, I can't do him. The whole Leitner shot thing, fan base wouldn't do that. Who else you got? Pitino, get him on the phone.
Well, before you even make the call, David, you would have to make sure you do a little R&D, check on the lateral quickness of some of these players at Kentucky.
No, I know I've got players who have lateral quickness. He may not. He may have that issue at St. John's. We don't have that issue at Lexington.
Never have, never will.
No. We got players. We got dudes. We got buckets. We got dudes. You know what we don't have? We got a coach who can't win big games. Give me the coach.
David, big games. He's not winning little games.
Give me the coach who sent 5 teams to the tournament who should have sent 6, but the committee was, blinded. No, I'm not kidding. I get Rick and Richards waiting in the wings. We ain't playing around here. It's about winning basketball games. Period. End of sentence. Damn right. You damn right I would. You damn right. He's up in the rafters. He won him a natty. He left in the base. He went to 3 Final Fours, 2 championship games, won him a natty. The team he left won the natty the next year. Best stretch of Kentucky basketball since Adolph Rupp. Who was the coach?
Rick Pitino.
He's alive and well, and he's in New York. Call him.
His hair's a different color than when he coached you before.
Who cares? Who cares? Don't care. Honestly, don't care. It's a 3 to 5 year deal. Give me a tournament run, and we'll bring your kid in. Yes, you can go to the Derby. Yes, I'll get your old box back. Yes. What else do you want? I'll bring your mistress back. Yes. What else you want? Okay, I'm not playing around. All right. If I'm coming up with $33 million for a buyout, I want a rock sure guarantee on the successor. Rick Pitino's coaching last night. How many points Golke have?
At least 10 less than what he had.
At least. Pitino would have guarded the kid himself to shut him down if he had to.
Paul in the Twitch chat room and someone on the text line both saying the same thing. Says the Gator fan, I'd hate it, but they should call Billy Donovan.
Yeah, they should. Or they could call Todd Golden, but that's a whole other story. Maybe hit a little too close to home. Because Florida may have the next Billy Donovan. Just saying. He's got it going on. That was a good hire. Still not going to save Scott Strickland if the football coach doesn't win, but that's a good hire.
Maybe Kentucky should call Greg Campy.
Take it easy now.
40 years. You want to end your career in Lexington? Here's all this money.
Take it easy. So that's what I would do. Listen, I know it's not going to happen. I get it. I know. But what would I do? That's what I would do. And everybody knows it would work too. I know you're all mocking me. I know you're all laughing at me.
I have not mocked you or laughed at you.
You did laugh at me. Oh, no. You put your head in your hand. You laughed the first 3 minutes that I brought this up. You did. You've just gotten it out of your system. You're still laughing. You're biting your lower lip. You're laughing. You know I'm right.
It's still funny.
Yeah.
No matter how you slice it.
It was the mistress line that's got you laughing.
It really is.
I don't care. I don't care. We're Kentucky basketball. I only care about winning.
Don't know if David's doing a talk show or if this is Ricky Gervais doing the Golden Globe monologue right now. I don't care.
I'm auditioning. I am.
10th time.
Miller and Moulton.
Jack Golke beat Kentucky
by himself.
You don't want to call Rick Pitino. Okay.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd, with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Do you remember Rocket Watts at MSU?
Yeah.
Because he's on Oakland now. And he's okay, but he had the assist last night on the dagger 3.
How about Bijan Robinson having a perfect bracket yesterday?
I know.
He's got Western Kentucky winning too, by the way.
Well, that would crush our guest coming up in 20 minutes because he's a Marquette alum.
So I've got the play, and then I also have, I want to play one soundbite from Greg Campy.
All right.
Yeah.
It's like 10 seconds long. It's not long.
Yeah. No, we'll give you a little more time. Look at you all spartied up.
I almost wore my Gators shirt this morning because they play today, of course. And
I almost wore my Drake shirt, but they lost.
Washington State, by the way, Miles Rice, their best player, in remission for the same type of the C word that I had. So I was rooting for him. Once I found that out, I was like, I can't pick against these guys.
Same cupcakes? What?
Yes. C cups.
Gotta watch those cupcakes.
Okay, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
We'll talk more college hoops in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Jerel McNeal from the field of 68. He led Marquette to some tournament wins a few years ago. He came after D-Wade, but we'll get his thoughts on last night. You know, when he was with Marquette, they beat Kentucky. You know, so he'll probably say,
Is
listen,
that a big deal anymore?
That's what he'll say. He'll probably say, you know, beating Kentucky early in the tournament, really no big deal. Well, I don't know what he'll say, but field of 68, he's coming up in a little more than 15 minutes time. Pat Kirwan, we will talk some NFL. You know, the draft's 5 weeks from yesterday, just like Major League Baseball. Season starts for everybody else not in the Dodgers and Padres a week from yesterday. You know what also starts 3 weeks from yesterday? The Masters. So, you know, it's that time of year. We'll touch all the bases over the course of the next few weeks. Pat Kirwan coming up at the top of the hour. Our poll question, $33 million to buy out Calipari. What do you think Kentucky's going to do? As Mark so eloquently put it, he gone or he stays.
Close vote right now, 54-46 that he gone.
Wow, I'm surprised it's that close.
Thank you, Hawk Harrelson.
And if you miss the Hawk doing baseball, you know, as Shaq would say, Google me, Chuck. Google me.
Was that his thing when guys got tossed or when they struck
No.
out? Or what was the...
Everything. Home run, strikeout, he gone.
Okay. I can get behind that. I like
And I loved him. But
I
I'm
did too.
the guy who likes all announcers. I mean, it doesn't bother me when they're ultra homers because they're paid by the team for crying out loud.
Right.
Hawk also, when the other team would hit, you know, the game-winning home run, he would drop out for 30, 40 seconds and not talk.
Correct. I mean, he was a homer. His most famous comment was a blown call by the umpire, and he says, "You gotta be bleeping me." And he just said it over and over again for about a minute.
John McEnroe, but worse.
Well, you know, he cleaned
Or
it up.
better.
But
He cleaned it up.
You got the impression that if you were sitting around having beers, like if he had money on Kentucky last night, you got the impression as to, you know, how the game would have gone.
Well, and I'm not nervous. I'm looking forward to our interview with Pat because Pat gets into the madness. Pat and his buddies have their own, they draft teams.
No, that's right.
So if he drafted Kentucky, he will be in a foul mood this morning.
I know we love football more than we love anything else. I get it. I know there's nothing better than football. Are we sure though? Is there another? No. I'm serious about this.
You're preaching to the choir here.
Is there another sport/sporting event in which we actually start rooting for the outcome that is not in our best interest? That's how remarkable this sporting event is. 95+% of all brackets had Kentucky winning. The team that had the third most money bet on them in Vegas to win the entire thing was Kentucky, behind only UConn and North Carolina in terms of amount of money bet. And yet, midway through the game, oh man, this is going to screw me up. I'm going to lose money. My brackets are going to be blown up. Okay, blah, blah, blah. And what do you end up doing for the next hour?
Rooting for Oakland. It is a remarkable thing because we're all regionalized with our sports teams. We root for whoever, for the most part, we root for whoever we grew up rooting for. And it's one of the reasons that David and I have always loved doing a show in Florida, because people, I know some of you are from here, but people are from everywhere. So we get the benefit of being able to do a more national type show in the state of Florida than you would if you were in Michigan or Kentucky or the Northeast. But by and large, you're still only rooting for your team. When you go to a sports bar on a Sunday and the Bears score at the Lions bar, the Lions fans aren't high-fiving one another. And I know outside of Kentucky fan, which has a huge fan base everywhere, yesterday everybody started rooting for Oakland.
Right. And none of them picked them. Apparently 5% of the ESPN brackets picked Oakland. I was shocked it was that high.
Right, because even though it's a 14-3 and those happen more often than you think, it's Kentucky.
It's Kentucky.
The average fan, the average person looks at that and they know Kentucky. They've seen Kentucky win, even if they've just followed casually. And they've also probably never heard of Oakland. So you factor that in, it's a double whammy.
How many people midway through the game yesterday went, wait, that school's from Michigan?
Exactly.
I thought they were from Oakland. Right. So that's just what I loved about last night. I know, listen, football's bigger. A lot of things are bigger than college basketball as a sport. I get it. But as a sporting event, man, there is nothing like when the major upset's happening. Come on. You eat more during a 215, 314 than you do. I eat more during the madness than I do during the NFL playoffs.
David, that I will say, I don't want to rain on your parade right now, but I had Trent over to watch games yesterday.
I know what you're going to say.
He doesn't eat.
Oh, well.
I made wings. There were wings. My daughter had more wings than Trent did.
They were delicious. The ones that
the one that you had.
I think he had 3.
I did. 3 was the number.
3 wings.
He treats wings like beers? Okay.
No, he had far more beers than he did wings.
Okay.
He had no problem with the Miller Lights.
Well, you just kept bringing them to me. What am I going to do?
I know he's likable and talented. Were you sure we're keeping him?
Not unless we fatten him up.
He doesn't eat during the madness? I mean, are you sure?
3 wings.
I mean, can this relationship really go the distance? Are you sure?
I don't know.
3 wings in honor of Jack Golke's performance last night from 3.
Look at you. All right. Yeah, take it away. Golden Grizzlies, let's go.
Yeah, story of the tournament, in case you've been living under a rock, here's the context. Oakland Golden Grizzlies, formerly the Pioneers, taking on the Kentucky Wildcats, 14 versus 3. It's Oakland's first big dance since 2011. Jack Golke hits 10 threes, team hits 15, and they pick up their first D1 win in the tournament in program history. Here's Neil Rule on the call in the final seconds.
Pass up ahead. Reeves fires the 3. Will not go. The buzzer sounds. America, the Oakland Golden Grizzlies have busted your bracket. Oakland University is going on. The Kentucky Wildcats are going home.
40 seasons in Auburn Hills for Greg Campy, the coach. He is Oakland. It's kind of the mid-major version of what Coach K is Duke. I mean, Greg Campy is Oakland. No one else of note has ever come through there. His parents were big Michigan fans, and when Campy beat the Wolverines in 2000, he always said that would be his the biggest win of his career, and that's not the case anymore. So happy for Greg Campy.
And that is our Molly Maid play of the day. Call Molly Maid today if you're looking for someone to clean your house. 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839. And give your spouse the gift of a clean house.
And by the way, here is Greg Campy post-game with Tony Paul, the Detroit News.
You know, in the press conference, they asked me about, would this be the greatest win? And I said, for the school, but not for me, because the Michigan and my parents and then and all that. I was wrong. It's the greatest win in my career, Oakland's career, everything.
March. You got to love it.
40 years.
40.
Devoted his life to that school. They were D2 when he started. Last 25 years have been D1. He plays his buddy Izzo every year. Loses just about every time. A lot of good games, too. Oakland, 80. Kentucky, 76. Gotta love it.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
He played 6 games in the NBA. He's Bull Durham.
Who did?
Our next guest.
Oh, okay.
Jerel McNeal. I mean, he's a 4-year starter at Marquette. I went to the tournament all 4 years. You know, averaged 15 points a game in college. Good college player. Had a really nice college career. 6 games in the NBA. And
What'd
he
he play
made
for?
the NBA like 6 years after college. Think about that.
He didn't play with Jimmy, did he? Just
With who?
before Jimmy Butler at Marquette.
What years was Butler?
I'm looking that up right now. I think he must have came right after.
Well, he was 06 through 09.
I think Jimmy
So
Butler was after that, but let me look it up.
I think he was too. I'm just trying to think Jimmy's age. I mean, I think Jerel is like 37.
Oh no, Jimmy Butler was there 08 to 2011. So they played together for a season.
So 08 meaning 08/09.
Yeah, I would assume.
Yeah, he would have just been gone.
Gotcha. So Jarrell's last year at Marquette was Jimmy's first.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, we got him. Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the top of the hour. Pat Kirwan to talk all things NFL at the top of the hour. We'll also see how his bracket is doing this morning. Jerel McNeal was a 4-year starter at Marquette. They went to the tournament all 4 of those years. He beat Kentucky in the tournament, thank you very much. Played in the NBA. He's heavily involved in youth basketball these days. He's also a commentator for the Field of 68. You can follow Jerel on X at Jerel, JEREL_McNeal, MCNEAL. Jerel, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this, particularly at this hour. How are you?
I'm doing well, guys. I really appreciate you having me on, man. I'm still fired up from the first night of games here.
Absolutely. Listen, I mentioned you were a 4-year starter for a reason. You played in the tournament all 4 years. There's a lot of talk these days about basically getting old and staying old. And like Calipari referenced it last night, that I know we're young, but I thought we'd be able to overcome that. You know, you had old teams who lost yesterday too. I'm just curious, do you remember how you handled the tournament as a freshman / sophomore versus how you handled it as an upperclassman, and was it different?
Yeah, I mean, I think the dynamic definitely changes, and you know, like the old saying goes, there's no real replacement for getting those live experiences. I remember our first couple years going to the tournament, our first 2 years specifically. My first year, I think we probably had, if not the best, probably the second best team in my tenure in my 4 years, because we got an opportunity to play with my good friend and teammate Steve Novak that year too. So Steve was a senior that year, probably one of the best shooters, if not the best shooter I had been around. And just like the combination of us 3 or 4 freshman guys who were coming in, who were still really good players, but just young and didn't have the same type of experiences as well. And we ended up losing in a comeback effort against Alabama in the first round out in San Diego. We had opportunities there. But I think the biggest thing that you just take away from it each and every year is that you start to realize as you go through the years and you progress that those moments aren't promised. You know, guys are coming and going every year. There are going to be guys that you won't get an opportunity to play again with. But, you know, the experience of it all is just priceless. It's the biggest stage for a lot of these kids that they'll ever play on. There is a sort of kind of just like a time where you kind of gotta adjust to that, you know. So first time playing in the bright lights, obviously Kentucky was a team that had a ton of freshmen. And those guys, you know, a lot of those guys are going to be gone probably and going pro this year, so they probably won't get that experience again. But you know, it came back to bite them a little bit yesterday.
When you're watching that game go on with Kentucky and Oakland, are you, you know, what are you thinking for these Kentucky players as it starts going badly, and how would you have tried to turn it around if you were coaching?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is just the weight of the game. And you know, the commentators did a great job last night of just speaking to that. You know, every minute and every passing second in that second half, when you're the higher seed in that situation and the team that is not expected to lose, you know, and you're down, the pressure mounts with every passing possession. You know, the thing that I was watching is just like trying to see if Oakland was just going to be able to continue to keep the lead and make enough shots to keep Kentucky at bay. And with every time Kentucky kind of made a little run and got it within a possession or two, those guys made a really big shot. So you got to give them credit for that as well too. But I thought Kentucky, you know, they struggled with the same thing they struggled with all year. And that was just getting timely stops. You know, the Jack Goat kid had an amazing year this year overall. And I got a chance to watch him a little bit in their conference tournament to really shoot the ball, and they didn't really have an answer to him. They didn't have a guy on the roster this year that was capable of kind of playing and staying home on him and taking him completely out of the game. And then they got beat up a little bit, I felt like, inside as well, too. And that was one of their kind of Achilles heels all year, too. But they don't have a bigger team. They didn't have a ton of experienced guys in the front court as well. But, I mean, if they would have been able to just slow him down a little bit and take away some of those looks that he would get from the three-point line, I think it just would have helped their defense out a whole lot.
Listen, you're not an old guy. You're still in your 30s. So when I talk about your day, you know, I want everybody to know, you know, it was the end of the aughts, if you will. Does a Jack Golke have this type of performance 15 years ago, or is this the difference in the game today? That it is the court's more spread out, it's more perimeter based, and we're going to have more Jack Golkes. Does Jack Golke happen 15 years ago?
I'm not sure if that happens, and it's probably for a couple of reasons, guys. Obviously, I think that the overall state of the game and just, you know, obviously some of the rules and everything have changed too. But just you know, this stuff with the transfer portal, it creates a different dynamic. And you know, to be honest with you, I have nothing against it. I'm kind of here for it. The biggest thing I was just thinking was like, is a kid like that even going to get an opportunity on this stage back then with him just finding out a little bit about his backstory, being originally like a Division II kid who had the opportunity to move up and play at a higher level. When I was in school, just that kind of mobility, and I tell my kids now even that, you know, the mobility kind of goes both ways. It's an open door, it's a swinging door, if you will. Like, you know, you got guys that are looking for players that are really high-level players that may have got overlooked at Division II level. You also had guys that maybe went high major or mid-major, and maybe they got in above their heads a little bit, so they may go back and move down, you know what I mean, to a lower level where they can have more access to have a bigger impact. So I'm not sure if it happens in that aspect when I was playing, but at the same time, I feel like we constantly had these stories. Now, they were for a lot of different, probably some better players, I would say that. You know, we've seen these type of runs from guys like Steph Curry around my time. Steph had an amazing run for a couple of years there. My last couple of years in college too, but it was a guy essentially where you hear about him all year. You don't get a ton of time to see him play on ESPN and TV every night. But that's what March was for. And, you know what I mean? Those type of guys, they were capable and really talented players, and they kind of take the world by storm in March.
A lot of people think Marquette's vulnerable in this tournament. Obviously, their guard's been banged up. I don't know if he'll play against Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky can score and defend. Tell me what you think about Marquette's chances today against Western Kentucky.
Well, I'll tell you what, I feel a lot more confident because I do know that TK, Tyler Kolick, is full go. From what I've heard, he's had a really good week of practice. He hasn't been limited in any capacity. And that dude is one of the best players in the country and one of the most competitive kids that I've been around. So I know he'll be chomping at the bit after missing the last couple of weeks. So I'm confident in it. Obviously, I got a little bit of nerves being just the first game of the tournament. And like I said, it's just such a big stage. You can never quite predict exactly how everybody will react. But I also know this just from my playing days and experience. And I truly feel like this and believe this, that first game in the tournament is usually the toughest one. Traveling out to whatever site you'll be playing at and getting that first win is always hard. And I was one of the guys because, like I said, Kentucky busted my bracket up a little bit because I had them going at least to the Sweet 16 in most of my brackets. But I knew that this first game, especially for those young guys, was going to be hard. But it was going to be like that for a lot of guys. So if Marquette can get this on the night and just kind of get their feet wet, get back used to playing with Kolick, with him and his return, I think they'll be good going forward. They'll obviously have a tough draw here, possibly in the second round with a possible matchup against the Gators from a team that I've watched a ton of this year too, and I have a ton of respect for them. I love the way they play, and they got a ton of really good guards and players. They got some big guys as well too, with Samuel and Condor and some of those other guys. So.
Well, and Marquette and Florida on the side of the South bracket that Kentucky and Texas Tech were on. So, you know, Marquette, Florida thinking if we can get to the second week, we're going to be playing the winner of Oakland, NC State to go to the Elite Eight. So that side of the South opened up last night. By the way, who do you have cutting down the nets if it wasn't your alma mater?
Yep, and I did this purposely when I made my picks. I never like to jinx my guys because usually 90% of the time if I pick them, they'll probably lose early. But I had Arizona winning the whole thing. I like their draw in that region. I feel like it's kind of set up for them to make a deep run. And then I felt like that they're one of the few teams I felt like would kind of be able to match up with Connecticut a little bit. I still have Connecticut going to the Final Four. And then I had Tennessee and Marquette coming out on the other side.
Ooh. That would be
Tennessee and Marquette, and Tennessee got off to a good start yesterday as well. Talk about, just as you mentioned, the nerves of the first game. When you're playing in this gym, a lot of these guys are playing in these gyms for the first time. How nerve-wracking is that first game from a player's standpoint?
I mean, I think it's very nerve-wracking. Like I said, a lot of it is just the stage, man, and that's one of the exciting things just about college basketball is that once you make it to the NCAA tournament, there is no stage that trumps that. They do a great job with all these different sites set out all around the country, and it's a really big draw, and a lot of times in smaller cities where the community is gonna really get out and support you. You got a ton of fans and alum that are gonna try to travel in, depending on the distance, to come see their team play, and just the media coverage of it all is kind of breathtaking at times, because I feel like, especially in this day and age, college basketball is one of the sports that gets overlooked a little bit, just as far as year-round media coverage. Everybody kind of forgets about it until March hits and you start seeing the conference tournaments and people kind of punching their tickets to the dance. But it's definitely nerve-wracking. But at the same time, and I've always looked like this because I was a guy that was just always had good nervous energy before games. And usually that goes away within the first minute or so of the game. As soon as that first basket kind of goes in for either team, you just in and you realize, it's just another basketball game. Just the stakes are a little bit higher. So
He's Jerel McNeal. Standout at Marquette, a 4-year starter, started every game of his college career. He's an analyst with the Field of 68, and they cover the sport 24/7, 365. You can follow Jerel on X at Jerel, Jerel _McNeal, McNeal. Jerel, thanks for making time for us. All the best to your alma mater tonight. Hopefully we can talk again.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me, and hopefully we'll be seeing Florida here coming up on the weekend. So I appreciate you guys taking the time out and having me on.
Well, I think a lot of people would like to see a little Marquette, Florida second-round action in these parts and all parts for that matter. Mentioned it during the commercial break. If we have him on again, we'll go down this road. He played 6 games in the NBA. He's Bull Durham.
Had his cup of coffee. But as you mentioned during the break, it was 6 years removed from his last college game.
Correct. So he obviously did the minor league basketball route and what have you and stayed with it for 6 years and played 6 games in the NBA with the Phoenix Suns. Don't you just have to talk to him about that?
100%.
Staying with it for the 6 years, and then how often do you think of the 6 games? Was that 2 10-day contracts? Was it they signed you, and then but then they sent you down? I mean, just honest. I would just love to talk to him. Never mind the fact his senior year he played with this Jimmy Butler guy at Marquette. So we could do a segment just on that. But don't you just want to talk to him about 6 games? Everything that went into playing those 6 games in the association?
And having been a minor league hockey broadcaster, I know so many of that guy, if you know what I mean.
Right.
The guy that got the chance, the guy that got called up, got to play in a game or 2.
I think he scored 9 points in the NBA. I think his career numbers are 1.5 points a game. 6 games. I'm fascinated by that. I just think everything about that is, lack of a better word, neat. I honestly, I want to dive in to his professional basketball career. I want to know all about it. 6 games. But terrific college player. Averaged 15 points a game. 4-year starter. Started every game of his college career. Marquette went to the tournament all 4 years. Beat Kentucky his junior year in the tournament.
Yeah, what's that mean? Everybody beats Kentucky.
Used to be something you bragged about, Mark. I don't know.
Nothing a St. Peter's can't do. Nothing an Oakland can't do.
Well, make a dadgum good point, I guess. Call Pitino. That's all I know. This stuff's not happening if Rick Pitino's on the bench.
It's our poll question today. Rick Pitino's buyout is $33 million.
Well, Calipari's is.
Or Calipari, rather. Do you think Kentucky will buy him out? Right now, 54% of you say that he gone. Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, or Miller_Moulton on X. Pat Kirwan is next. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymade.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymade.com/FTMYERS.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Good morning, fellas.
Morning, Pat.
Morning.
Pat, did you draft Kentucky?
Brad Childress had him, but he sends me a note. I was with my wife last night. We were at some party thing, and she goes, the note from Brad is, oh, my God, Kentucky. Then there's 3 dots, and it goes, but thank God I have Oakland. It was like the last pick of the draft, and he said, all right. I said, you got to take one more. You're the last guy drafted. He took Oakland. We all laughed. And this morning, thank God, I have Oakland. Words he never thought he'd ever say.
No.
I think that's what people like most about the whole crazy tournament. That there's an Oakland every year. So it's fun. You know, your thought on firing a coach. Yeah. There's not one guy in Oakland that Kentucky looked at. They rejected every one of those kids.
No, it's the one thing that, you know, they can make this football tournament as big as they want. It's the one thing that, you know, the sports are too different.
They are. It's too different. You can't play.
Right.
You know. But it's everyone loves a single elimination.
Oh, it's
There's
sports
nothing
with
like
consequences. Games that have consequence, America loves.
Yeah,
there are
so-
leagues and sports that we don't watch until it's a win or go home scenario, and then we watch.
Yep. And it's really interesting to me who has to assume the most pressure in those situations. You know, there's certain teams that are just so good, they're just going to roll over these guys. But there are the Oaklands of the world, and there's going to be a couple more that really in the middle of the season would get blown out by these guys. But because of the nature of this tournament, some of the best teams have a hard time handling the whole thing.
Well, and we all know it by now, but the other phenomenon that takes place, first off, when Oakland's get to play Kentucky's in the regular season, they're playing at Rupp Arena in a guarantee game. And then on these quote-unquote neutral court games, yeah, Oakland may have 400 fans there and Kentucky may have 8,000, all right? But the minute Oakland starts playing with Kentucky, the other 12,000 in the arena start rooting for Oakland.
Yeah. I always hated this coach, I hated all that stuff. No one from Oakland's leaving early for the NBA either. That's the other thing. You get to coach them for 4 years.
It's funny though, Pat, we had Nevada was the oldest team in the tournament. BYU is always old and experienced. The Drake group, everybody loves the coach. It was a veteran team, the star player. There were a lot of examples of the veteran teams who choked
like hairy dogs.
Yeah, last night. And then
Oakland is correct me on this. Are they right outside of Detroit?
Yes.
Yeah. That's the school that Jim Miller's daughter went to.
Oh, okay.
I never even heard of it.
It's basically a commuter school in Detroit.
Yeah, I got a couple friends that went there, and they all commuted from.
Yeah, she did not want to go away. That was all part of it.
Think about the sports year in that, in the last 60 days. So Michigan wins the national title. The Lions go to the NFC title game, and Oakland.
Yeah, but nobody cares about Oakland. I mean, you don't understand.
No.
People care about FGCU than care about Oakland University. I'm just telling you, they don't.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. Last night, I mean, in your former state, I mean, they're going crazy. They think it's cool as hell, though.
I think their moment came, and it's going to come to an end soon. But it's a moment they'll live with forever. There'll be pictures around that campus, whatever it is.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And we'll put all our madness talk on hold, although Pat will talk the tournament. He's in a couple of brackets. All right. He and his buddies, they have a draft. They just draft teams in the tournament. Pat Kirwan of NFL Radio's Moving the Chain, CBS's NFL Today Show, joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, a dozen locations in between Pinchers where you can't fake fresh. So did you draft Kentucky or did you escape last night?
Coach Childress, former head coach of the Vikings, he took Kentucky. But when the last pick of the entire draft, he took Oakland, and he's quite proud of himself this morning.
Well, so he took Brock Purdy, basically. His 7th-round pick, He took Purdy.
Yes. So we're having a good time, lots of laughs, and we have a bunch of guys in it. So one guy couldn't make it. So we had decided to let him in anyway because he was the winner last year, and we all want our money back from last year. So Coach Childress picked for him. And you know what he did? He just only picked teams in the East bracket. So he's basically guaranteed to get to the Final Four. We're furious with Coach Childress about this.
One of the best drafts Coach Childress ever had, and it was for someone else.
I'll make sure I tell him that, Mark.
Pat.
Maybe at a hockey game when you're with me.
That's fine.
Listen, Pat, we joked over the years that if we ran a pro personnel department, we'd just limit it to, listen, we're only going to draft players from these 15 schools. I mean, that's just what Childress did. He's like, well, I'll take these 8 schools from the SEC. I'll take these 6 schools from the Big Ten. And, I'll look at the occasional kid from Notre Dame.
Well, that's the problem. He was a coach at Wisconsin. And my brother played at Illinois, and they're both in this. You know what? They gobble up the Big Ten schools like they're definitely going to get to the Final Four. Go get them, fellas. You can have Wisconsin, Michigan State to go for it. They haven't won in years.
Well, neither is the Big Ten, Pat. It's been since 2000 for the Big Ten, so it makes sense. All right, owners' meetings coming up. We've got rule changes. They are not going to ban the tush push. What are we expecting out of these owners' meetings?
I think some of the things, first of all, I'm going to be there the Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and I'll hear all the scuttlebutt on Sunday. People are pretty relaxed at this. So the first thing I think guys are worried about or concerned about, and I should put you two in charge of this, they're starting to tell me they don't feel like we've figured out the kickoff with all the ramifications that might come with it. So they might come up with a plan that everyone likes, but I have a suspicion, as usual, it'll get pushed off till May because there's too many things in there that have to be figured out. So we'll see what happens with that. So like I gave one example. I said, what are you doing about this? The ball gets kicked off, it's windy, and it doesn't make it, and it hits one of the front walls of the return unit, one of the guys right in the chest, and bounces back. Now, is that a dead ball right there? Is that what that's going to mean? Lots of things like that. Now, the guys that I've talked to that coach special teams, they're already thinking they'll be too deep, and I'm talking about covering the kicks. They're going to kick into a corner and slant their whole 10-man front right to that corner. And try to dump, and now all of a sudden you're talking about returns that aren't going to get out very far. There's more confidence that they can cover this than they can return this. And this is all for returns. We're going to have a lot of returns, and the injury rate will go up, and then someone will think this was a bad idea. But there's too many questions. And when I report to you guys Tuesday morning, they'll be voting on it on Tuesday, and by then I'll have a very good sense if they're even going to get it through. So that one, the tush push, here's the problem with that. It is dangerous, but since no one broke their neck yet, they're not addressing the safety. So they keep talking about, they think it should, and the media is the worst. They think it should be canceled because of the success rate of Philly. It's not the reason they should cancel it. It's extremely dangerous. I talked to young Mr. Kelsey, who is in the most dangerous position for Philadelphia, and he knows what it is. When you're at the bottom of that pile and your head is down and there's a guy pushing right on your head from the other opponent and someone behind you pushing you, there's no way. And I asked him this question. I said, could you scream stop and they'd stop? Because there's no way. And I knew the answer. I just wanted him to be on record as saying it. So if someone gets caught in a tough position down there, we're going to have a major injury. And then all of a sudden, they're going to look at this differently. But so they're not going to talk about it. They're going to let that thing go for now.
Pat, have you gotten anybody with the NFL to tell you what made them change? You never used to be able to push someone from behind. They wouldn't let offensive linemen push the pile. You couldn't push the quarterback from behind on a quarterback sneak. And then obviously they started allowing it. Why?
They always like to tell you it started when they watched Reggie Bush push Matt Leinart into the end zone in a college game. I go, that has nothing to do with pro football. That's their problem. It's in the books. You can't assist players. And then they'll tell you, well, we don't let them pull them in. So that was the old trick too. So no, it's negligence in my mind of assisting players. If you watch as much pro football as the three of us, your listeners, you'll see what they're doing. They've taken this to another level, and it's subtle. But on zone runs now, once that zone run right takes off and he's starting to cross the line of scrimmage, the left side of the line is scooping in behind and starting to assist him.
Yes.
So once they, let this happen, the smart guys have figured out how to keep doing it in every other dimension. So pretty sad. And when I ask them, they go back and reference the Reggie Bush thing. I go, what are you talking about?
Also, that was 2005.
I know.
Do you know how many changes have been made to the NFL for quote unquote player safety since 2005? I don't get it.
It's got a safety component to it, by the way. Anytime a player is being assisted by someone, something bad can happen. But no, they're not dealing with that. We know how they go with all those things. So, one of the officials was kind of disheartening when I asked him about it. And he said, well, you really can't prove we're assisting the runner. I go,
What?
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. You look just like me when he said it to me.
What in the hell? I guess my lion eyes get in the way of what I'm watching, Pat.
Yeah, don't let facts get in the way of anything. So it's kind of interesting. Maybe it's the way our whole country is. You can say anything in front of a mic and tell the world that's true. So, we can't tell if he's assisting the runner. Who the hell else is he assisting? We're waiting for the ball across the goal line.
Let's go back to this kickoff.
Yeah.
All right. So they're going to kick it off from the 35 where they kick it off now. Touchbacks, fair catches are not allowed.
Nope.
You can have a touchback, but a touchback brings the ball out to the 35. So help me out here. If I kick it 7 yards deep in the end zone, is the returner allowed to catch it and take a knee?
He's not going to touch it. I think he's just going to let it go in. It's called a touchback.
Right.
Once it goes into the end zone,
It's a touchback.
it's a touchback. And so it's
Okay.
going to the 35. So this is why I never wanted the kicker at the 35. You got the wind behind you at an outdoor stadium. It's going to be hard not to have it fly into the end zone. This, in my mind, they should be kicking off from the 25.
And let them have the full leg and let the chips fall where they may, right?
Yeah. But they're too close. You're in Denver. Think about Denver. You know, you're going to get touchbacks and balls on the 35. And and I know you guys do this, if you study start points for teams, the difference between when it was on the 20 and the 25, that extra 5 yards increased the probability of scoring by a significant amount. If you're putting the start on the 35, David, how far before you're in field goal range?
Well, exactly. That's why. So now with this new kickoff rule, we're going to have a lot more higher, shorter kicks trying to land it right around the goal line, the 2, 3, 5 yard line, right?
Right. Yep.
Okay. And then the guys can't move from the 40. They're across midfield. The 10 tacklers are on the 40. The ball's caught at the 3. Now they can start running.
Correct. And so Brad Seeley, former NFL special teams coach, who I had on, I talked about him with you guys last week. He thinks that's where all the penalties are going to be. Guys on a cover unit moving too early and reacting to the blockers who might start to move. So it's going to be, and the last thing we need are another special teams play with flags. Don't you feel like when they're getting ready to punt or kick off, the officials put their hand on their flag because they know they're going to use it before the play is over? So the last thing we need is that, a flag on these plays. And I don't think they've ironed out all that stuff either.
Pat, can the officials handle the play? And I'm not trying to be flippant here with what's going on here. It sounds like that puts a lot of pressure on the officials in a lot of different ways for this kickoff play.
Correct. And Seeley's major point about your point was, well, they're going to get the preseason to see it and work with it. You know what he said? Nobody's going to show you anything with the kickoff. They're just going to do nothing. And when the opening game starts, there's going to be all kinds of twists and pressure pushes and everything else going on. And who knows what's going to be illegal. And who knows, think about that when you're trying to block a guy who's trying to kick you out so he can get a loop hole to get a guy through and blow up the returner. I said this the other day. We all know how to punt the ball. Why don't you just start the game with a punt and say you have to double the flyers so those guys aren't coming down to blow up the returner. The rush unit and the block unit are 1 foot apart, so there's no injuries there. There's no impact. Start the game with a punt, and I'll tell you where I'd punt from. The ball would be on the 50-yard line, so the punter's back on the 35. The returner is going to catch the ball inside the 10, and he's got to return it. We all know how to do that. And to Mark's point, we all know how to officiate that too. What we're going to go with here in this convoluted scheme is going to be problematic, and everyone will be looking for a penalty. Anyway, enough of that. You know what bothers me the most? What reared its ugly head the other day? Motion, and now a low block is going to be they're trying to put it under the umbrella of a crackback. It's not a crackback. It's a low block, which is as legal as could be, but the defense is complaining, give us something, give us something. Very disturbed that might get through.
He's Pat Kirwan. NFL Radio's Moving the Chains. It's weekdays 3 to 7. During the season, he works on CBS's NFL Today show. He joins us twice a week during most of the season, courtesy of Pinchers. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Hey, Mark, did you ever go to this place at the corner of 41 and Estero Parkway, that place Vino's?
Oh, the pizza joint?
No, you know where I met you one night to watch football?
Yeah.
But it's right next to it in that little shopping center.
Yeah, there's that's all right. That Pazzo's or Pizzo's or whatever, the pizza place people say is great.
Yeah, I think my daughter went and got pizzas there. But anyway, I went to see this show last night my wife wanted to go to. And the two guys that own the place are completely addicted to you two. They're like all over it. And they're in the morning, getting prepped and everything. And your show's on all the time in there. They knew a lot about you guys.
All right.
I
Isn't
said,
that
well,
the one that what's his face from FGCU was a part of? Right outside the building, David. Wasn't Jay Webb a part of that?
He was at the beginning. I don't know if he still is, particularly after his health crisis.
I don't know anything, but I will say this. I was asking him who, because I hadn't even knew it was there. My wife knew about it, but they said a lot of the faculty from, so maybe the guy's still around, a lot of the faculty from Florida Gulf Coast go in there.
Yeah, he's been with that university damn near from the beginning. He's a pretty popular guy on campus. He's a handshake backslapper guy, so he knows everybody. Very nice guy. Nearly died like a year and a half ago. Had a 6 to 12 month major health crisis. But,
yeah, I think he was one of the owners. Yeah, I don't know if he still is.
So the owner was a very nice guy. You'll love this, Mark. I go, and we got talking about everything. And at the end, I said, I got to go. Thanks for having us. It was great. Show was terrific, all that business. And then I said, hey, just so I get to know you better, tell me about the greatest day of your life. And he looked at me. I said, just think about that for a second. Tell me the greatest day of your life. Here's his answer. I'm on Long Island. I sell my pork shop. He had a pork kind of deli place for more money than I thought I could get at 9 a.m. Then I drove to Riverhead, which is the other end of the island, signed my divorce papers, and then drove to Fort Myers to start the rest of my life. That was the greatest day of my life.
That's an all-time answer
you got
right
most
there.
of the cash for the pork store under the table.
That's an all-time answer right there.
You know what? I love asking that question. A lot of guys, I don't know, and but he was ready and he went through the whole thing.
Pat, I was in marriage, couples therapy, marriage counseling, first session with my first wife. And I realized 20 minutes into it that the marriage was over. But the therapist asked me, when was the last time you were happy? And this was in the spring of 93. And I looked right at her and said, when Matt Barr squeezed a 42-yard field goal inside the left upright at Candlestick.
See what happens when you ask these kind of questions?
Okay.
When was the last time you thought about that?
Yep. And I looked right at her and I said, I'm not effing kidding. I go, that's the happiest
All
I've
she did
been.
was she put a stopwatch on your response time, and it was under 3 seconds. She knew you
Oh,
were
yeah.
kidding.
No, well, because she asked it of my then wife first, when's the last time you were happy? So I had a chance to think about it. And I couldn't think of anything. And she said, when's the last time? And I said, well, when Matt Barr beat the Niners in the NFC title game.
You were confirming the divorce on the spot.
Yep.
Right
Yeah.
there. That's
No,
it.
I'd already determined in the first half hour it was over.
Yeah. We're not going for therapy. We're going for the exit strategy.
Yep.
Mine was 2 months ago, honest to God.
What was yours?
At Ford Field. Lions winning a playoff game.
There it is. Greatest moment of your life.
I'm not even kidding. I was with my brothers. I was with my best friends.
Right, and you've beat cancer.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean that is.
But that's not like beating the Rams.
Oh God.
Honest,
do you have any thoughts on that statement?
I mean, come on now. That's not beating Matt Stafford in Detroit.
Ah, that's funny.
Well, you know what? Come to think of it, Trent didn't put it first. He put it second. It was the Lion win.
Yep.
What I remember about that Lion win is you wasted a ticket on someone's girlfriend.
Yeah, no kidding.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
Miller and Moulton on what normally is a football Friday, but we got madness. But we are detouring to talk a little football on this Friday with one Pat Kirwan of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains. By the way, we'll go through the rest of the day's basketball slate next and make our picks. But in our Diamond District bonus hour, Karl Smesko, FGCU women's coach, they're getting ready for their tournament game tomorrow. And also Jack Ebling, who is tight with Izzo, Campy, covers them, writer, sports talk show host in that area of the country. So he'll join us about an hour from now. Pat, 5 weeks from yesterday, the draft takes place, at least the first round.
Yeah.
Where are organizations in front office right now? 5 weeks out, what is it like?
Well, the board was sketched up there, if you will. I mean, it's all magnets, so you can move things around. The GMs and the coaches are frustrated because every 15 minutes while they're trying to really work on this, someone comes in and says, these visits you keep seeing, this guy's visiting, Odell's visiting, all that stuff. Hey, could you step out here and spend about 20 minutes with the guy? And next thing you know, and I used to drive me crazy. You'd be out 3 times a day. And after a while, you just said, shut it down. We're done with free agency, So, because they got to get going on the board. And now these pro days are in the way. And for some organizations, they value the pro day a lot more than I would. And they're picking up and going, flying to these places. And I thought it was crazy. We had 3 pro days on the same day. Pretty important teams, right? Alabama, USC, and Ohio State. Weren't they all on the same day?
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts, but I'm not a pro day guy. So the more I miss, the better we'll be because I just want to watch the tape. I don't want to watch a guy in shorts with no pass rush and no coverage throwing balls. And I'm trying to figure out if he can play pro football. It's the biggest waste of time ever. But so pro days are in the way. And then this weekend's a demarcation line. Basically, the NFL decision makers are going to try to separate themselves from free agency and focus just on the draft. And they'll say something to the assistant pro guy. Hey, we need 2 more corners, minimum wage, no signing bonus. If you find those guys, bring them in. That's it. Why? Because they're going to want to cut them if they have to because they found draft picks or extra draft picks. So you see a lot of guys getting cut in June after OTAs that were veterans that signed. But there is really no harm, no foul deals. And we still have a couple of contracts to figure out. I think sometimes people ask me this and I realize they don't understand. They think the rookie pool is not part of the salary cap. There's a lot of people who think that. And the rookie pool, based on how high your picks are and how many you have, could be upwards of 11, 12, $13 million of cap space. So if you don't have that kind of space, and we all can look up who doesn't have it, you're still figuring that part out.
How much will the board change between now and the draft, Pat? I mean, is this a 90% set, or is there still a lot of work that's done on these boards?
I think it's more like 70% set. And there's things that are going to change the board. Guys are going to get arrested. And that's going to change things. Look what happened to Dak Prescott. He probably had a second-round grade. He fell to the fourth after the one episode in a campus bar or something. So that's a part of it. There's medical rechecks. Some guys are going to go back to India and not do well on the medical recheck. So those two things are part of it. And then when you bring them in, right, we're going to have visits. And some of the guys are a disaster on the visit when they bring them into your building, and you realize usually what happens, my experience, is the position coach comes down the hall and says, I just spent 2 hours with this dude. He can't learn. And then all of a sudden we're knocking him down the draft board. Why did we bring him in? We were interested in him. Now the position, I remember it was a linebacker, and our linebacker coach said to me, he looks beautiful. He's 6'4" and he's 250. He runs 4.6. It's perfect, but he can't think. I don't want to coach him. And that happens too. And that's pretty serious when that happens, because that guy didn't just stop at my office. He stopped at the head coach's office and said, don't let that personnel department tell us we got to take this guy. He can't learn. So those are the things that are in the way of solidifying the board, Mark.
Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chains. CBS's NFL Today Show, our remaining moments. Pat, when you really get down to it, once a player stops playing, what in the world can he do between then and the draft to really help his cause nowadays? They don't work out at the combine. Many NFL teams are discounting pro days. I mean, seriously, you've got the tape from his career. What can a player do between
I'll give you an example of a guy that helped himself, David, and you'll remember the player. Freddie Robbins, remember him? Giants defensive tackle. He was being downgraded for what looked like lack of effort. And if you watch the tape and watched him standing there doing nothing in a game, you would have said, I don't want to coach this guy. He doesn't work. He doesn't hustle. So we brought Freddie in and we said, let's watch this game. So he goes, I know what game you're going to put on. I said, okay, that's the one we're putting on. All right. I said, tell me why you're standing here. He goes, well, they were playing against basically a split back veer. It was an option team. And he goes, he said, I always lined up on the boundary side of the field. Did you notice that, coach? Now he's pinning me down. I go, yeah, I did. You didn't move. We're downgrading you. And he goes, I said, just give me a shot and explain to what you're doing. So he said, we're playing against an option team that had a counter dive. And they wanted everyone to leave and fast flow the pitch and all that stuff. He goes, except me. My job was to sit in the B gap. And if they ran the counter dive, it was all me. And I called his coach and I said, you know what Freddie told me? And he goes, he told you we held him back for the counter dive? I said, yeah. He goes, we did. I said, that kind of information has to get out, because if you watch that tape not knowing that, you're downgrading him for effort. And he goes, yeah, they ran the counter dive about 3 times. He stopped it all 3 times. That was his job. Oh, sorry, Freddie. And the Giants took him and he played good.
But that's one story. So obviously there are more that get downgraded for, it seems that it's a hell of a lot easier to get downgraded than upgraded in these last few weeks.
Sure it is. And like some of the people that are grading players for websites, and they actually have the nerve to tell you what his grade is when they don't even know the scheme. And they're even more dangerous when they tell you they know the scheme. Man, if you're not in that room and understand it, like Will Backers. Yeah, well, this is a general statement. Will Backer's a run and hit guy. Yes, he is. Yeah, only if you're inserting that safety to that side so he can go running across the top. But if you're inserting the safety on the other side, he has to stand there and wait for the cutback. So when you see the guy not making a lot of plays, they're buzzing in the strong safety and leaving him to hold for the cutback. So if you don't know that, I see some of these grades I hear guys give out. I like, what do you know what you're even looking at? So that stuff is all part of it. And then some of the fronts, like the defensive tackle that I kind of was interested in was a Texas kid, number 90. But he can only, in my opinion, can only play in a 4-3. So if you're a 34 front, don't waste your time. He's not going to fit for you. If you're a 4-3 team and you never stunt the front, don't waste your time. Where the guy is phenomenal is getting in his stance and looping around the end, crashing down inside because he's quick as a hiccup. But he's a fit in that defense only.
So he'd fit really well in Tampa. 10 seconds. So the Michigan quarterback's going to have his pro day today. What's the one thing you'd want to see or ask him?
I'd like to see touch passes. Honestly, he's got a little bit of Kaepernick hardball in him. He just likes to gun stuff, which is fine. It has its place. But sometimes you got to throw the ball, loop it over the linebacker and in front of the safety. You got to have a touch pass. And you can't remember Kaepernick on the checkdowns to the running back. He'd throw a bullet like 4 yards, and they couldn't handle it. So I'd like to see that from him.
He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, weekdays 3 to 7. During the season, he's part of CBS's NFL Today show. Pat joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers. Pinchers, Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Pat, we'll talk next week. See ya.
Take care, boys.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Right. He did it twice already, you said, right? Yeah.
What's up?
Did you get up minute interview because the pizza was done, or what the hell happened there?
Well, first off, I got guys.
I don't care. I just saw you walk in with food. I'm like, what? Did you just go cook a piece
Well,
of pizza?
actually, that is 3 slices of pepperoni pizza, but that are cold. But the reason I got up during it is I had forgotten there were guys coming working on our door. We got a hole in our front door, and they're going to sand it and repair it and paint it. And my wife locked the door, and I told them the door was going to be open because they needed to work on both sides of it and what have you. And so they're calling during the show, and I'm like, oh, blank, because they didn't want them to leave.
Right? No. I'm just busting your balls. I
But
wouldn't
yeah.
have said anything until you walked in with pizza. I'm like, what? Did you go?
Right.
Did the oven ding during the middle of the interview? And
No, we don't cook pizza in the morning. We just eat pizza in the morning. Little Caesar's extra most best is pepperoni. $7.99.
I love Little Caesars.
It's a spot. It's awful.
I mean, it's not good pizza, but I love it.
I don't even take that into consideration. It's good for I don't know if I've ever eaten food because it was good for me. I've not eaten some food because it's bad for me, but yeah, Mr. Traffic, I don't know what to tell you. I'm I don't play by those rules. I did like Old Forge pizza.
Oh yeah, it's Friday. Oh, whatever.
What?
Thank you.
Is this a Catholic thing?
Yeah, it's a no meat on Friday during Lent.
That's exactly yes. Quote, it's a Catholic thing. Yes, that is it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not really interested unless it's got meat on it. I mean, extra cheese is okay, but I did not hit a sports bar yesterday, Phil. I think I'm going to hit it tomorrow. I only know 2 people in Jacksonville. They were both busy. JP's doing the golf on the PGA Tour headquarters, doing the
Valspar.
Yeah.
So last year on the first day of the tournament, I was still teaching, quote unquote, and I found out that day that I was in remission, so that was a great day. And then I took I wasn't working that day because I took it off, obviously. And I went in to visit, I think I had to drop something off. Long story short, one of my favorite students, he's the secretary's son, and she let me take him to B-dubs with me to watch March Madness. So talking about fun days, that was a pretty fun day. And then we saw, I think the first, was it Furman, Virginia? Was that the very first game? Either way, that upset was early in the day, and that was awesome.
It was early in the day. Well, I know it was the afternoon session.
It was great.
So was the video of Kevin Harlan holding Dan Bonner and Stan Van Gundy back. Don't say a word. Don't move.
Did we just see what I think we just saw?
That is classic play-by-play guy.
All right, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, then the Diamond District bonus hour, which will have a couple guests in it, and that's not normal. So you'll want to stick around for that. One with the men's tournament, one with the women's. So are you hesitant to talk about day 2 of the tournament after 3 11s and a 14 winning in day 1? Or do you feel, no, I'm going to bounce back today? No, it's going to be good.
No, it's over. It's over. I don't recall a time that I've ever done this badly in day 1 of the tournament.
You can't remember the last time you lost a Final Four team on day one?
No, but not just that. Take that out of it. I lost 7 games yesterday. I had BYU, loser. Drake, loser. Nevada, big loser.
Ugh.
McNeal, stupid pick. Someone in our Twitch chat room tried to talk us out of it yesterday. I went and looked at the records, and I listened to 2 yahoos tell me that McNeal was the right pick. Should have listened to Racer in the Twitch chat room.
Yeah, no, he was right. Said they didn't play anybody. Gonzaga's going to kill him.
He kept pounding it the whole. You're wrong. I mean, he doubled, tripled, quadrupled down.
Good for him.
The entire show.
Good for him.
Came on this morning. Said I tried to tell you guys.
You did,
and you did, and we didn't listen. Bunch of dumbasses.
Yep, that's us, Miller and Moulton. A bunch of dumbasses. That's the T-shirt.
South Carolina, loser. Colorado State, loser. 11 points in the first half. Are you kidding me?
I know. They said to Virginia, listen, we saw what you guys did the other day. We think we can beat it. And they did. Then the funny thing is they were down like, what, 4 late? I mean, scored 11 points in the first half, had a chance to win. Nuts.
And then Kentucky. So it's 7 losers yesterday. That's
I
hard to do.
Meanwhile, Bijan Robinson went 16-0.
16-0, David.
That's pretty good.
I would say so.
Pick 3 11s and a 14. Come on, the 14's the pick.
Absolutely. Nothing better than Kenny Smith after saying it was a dynamic loss and Chuck just Really? That was a dynamic loss, huh? Thanks, Captain Obvious.
Yeah, that was rock solid.
I mean, Chuck just destroyed him.
Kenny didn't have a good day yesterday. Kenny seemed like he hasn't watched any college hoops this year. Kenny seemed like he got out of bed and got his assignment yesterday. Kenny was not bringing it yesterday. Chuck was all over it though. Chuck, you could tell Chuck had crammed. Chuck's the student who doesn't normally study. Chuck's done some studying. Chuck showed up with some facts. He showed up with Trent's 37-page thesis there. Chuck's ready to go.
Where do you think he got it?
Right. Now, next
also,
week,
Auburn's
Chuck will have
good this year.
nothing.
Auburn's good this year, so he has more reason to actually pay attention.
You know what? You're right. That's a dadgum good point.
What's Kenny's excuse?
Yeah, really. Carolina's a 1 seed.
They're always good. I mean, no offense. So, all right. I'm ready.
Well,
I'm ready to tell you which teams not to pick.
All right. We'll do this quickly. People liked it when we did our consensus bracket yesterday. I mean, don't know if we want to bring out those picks again because Mark got outvoted a couple times. He didn't like it, and turned out when he got outvoted yesterday that Moulton and Bally were wrong. So I could see where you're a little sensitive about doing the whole consensus thing. We differ. I mean, the first game today is FAU Northwestern.
I'm going to tell you right now, big boost on FAU. Money line.
I know.
Minus 110 if you want to play FAU straight up.
I like Northwestern too much.
Okay, it's a boost, Trent.
I know.
It's a boost on the Hard Rock app.
It's tough to stay away from the boost. I got it. The boost is like low and outside, and I'm always swinging.
Man, the boost is like a girl that you find somewhat attractive, but when she wears this certain outfit, you go, wow, she's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. Anytime when the Hard Rock does the boost, man, you're like, this is the best bet in the world.
Can I bet Florida Atlantic on the boost? Are you okay with that?
Yeah, do whatever you want. The one thing I will say is some serious money's come in on FAU in the last 24 hours.
Up to 4.5.
Wasn't it 2.5? Wasn't this a smaller? Was it always 4.5? I thought it was less.
It's actually 3.5 on the Hard Rock app. It's up to 4.5 on some other sites.
Then Baylor Colgate, 314.
Right.
I mean, Scott Drew, the next coach of Kentucky. No, okay. We got a bunch of 512s today. We got 3 of them today. So San Diego State, UAB. UAB's the 12.
UAB doesn't deserve to be a 12.
Well, and Duquesne didn't deserve to be 11. How'd that work out?
Really well for Duquesne.
Right.
Not so well for Miller.
Exactly. And then the other two 5-12s are late. Wisconsin, James Madison, St. Mary's, Grand Canyon. Got a lot of people all over Grand Canyon.
Let me give you a couple things about UAB just real quick, because it kind of goes hand in hand with yesterday. So UAB lost at McNeal, just for what it's worth.
First game of the year.
They were 0-4 in quad one. They have zero chance against San Diego State. Zero.
So to take UAB in the 6.5 is how you conclude that.
With a hammer.
So UConn's in action today against Stetson. Would you take Stetson in 26.5? I don't know if I would. You know what I would play in the game though? I'd play the over/under and I'd go over. It's 144.5. I think UConn's going to score 100.
You know what we need today? We need a 5 or a 16 parlay.
Really?
That's what we need.
We couldn't pick a winner straight up yesterday. You think we can get 4, 5, 6 in a row, right?
Water finds its level.
Right.
We're
drowning. Yeah, we're drowning, but thanks. All right. I will say, I think Western Marquette's a live play against Western Kentucky's a live play against Marquette. I do. And at 215. You know, just like there were those that thought Oakland was a live play against Kentucky. You know, people who think Colgate against Baylor today, maybe. You know, I really do. I think Western Kentucky against Marquette will be very interesting because of Western Kentucky's tempo.
Well, and just to reiterate a couple things that we brought up earlier in the week, Shaka Smart's 1-7 in his last 8 tournament games. He has exited in the first round 9 straight tournaments. Not first weekend, excuse me. First weekend, 9 straight tournaments. And David mentioned Western Kentucky. They are the fastest team in the tournament. Number 3 in the nation, but the 2 ahead of them didn't make the tournament. So they're the fastest team in the whole thing. They're going to come out swinging.
Marquette got their guard back.
Yep. We got the scouting report last hour from a former Marquette player. He said, word I got is he practiced all week and looks good. Okay, that's big.
Right. They said he would have been healthy enough to play in the Big East tournament, but they held him out specifically to get ready for the NCAA tournament.
Which was smart.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Gators at 4:30 on TBS. That's a virtual pick 'em, you know. Florida's a 1.5-point favorite against Colorado. What do we think of Vermont's chances against Duke? Vermont dominates that conference. Vermont's had a couple of moments in the tournament. Vermont's won 28 games this year, and it's a 4-13. We saw what Samford did for Kansas. Took them to the wire yesterday. We think Vermont's got anything for Duke? Just curious.
I don't.
They're a small team. Their size, so this could be a big game for Filipowski.
That's the problem. That's the problem. Duke has size. Vermont doesn't.
Vermont's one of the worst rebounding teams in the field. They might be dead last. I mean, they don't have size.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Charleston against Alabama. We think Charleston bringing anything to the table?
I don't, because I don't think they have the athletes to keep up with Alabama. I just think Alabama will track meet them right out of the gym.
If there's going to be another 13 seed that pulls off something that Oakland did, I mean, this team loves to run and chuck. They're another fast pace of play. They got shooters everywhere. All 5 guys on the floor can shoot. So if, you know, that is sometimes the recipe for these types of upsets.
But they're running with runners.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
They're a middle distance runner. They're running against 100-yard dash runners here. And I just don't know if they can keep up.
I think you hit the nail on the head yesterday when you said they just got a bad draw, because we like Charleston. I think, I think we all believe they could have won a game or two, but Alabama's just a bad matchup.
And the 11s went 3-0 yesterday. Does New Mexico make it a clean sweep? They're a 2.5-point favorite as an 11 against 6-seeded Clemson.
Can Clemsoning be a thing in basketball? It used to be.
Right. It did.
There was a decade in which they would go undefeated in non-conference play, playing the Little Sisters of the Poor, and then come out of the ACC being ranked in the top 25 in the country and get whacked 3-4 games in a row.
And the Trev Alberts game is just before 7 o'clock on TNT, Texas A&M and Nebraska. I will say, if you listen to this show, don't you have to have more interest in that game? One, how much we focused on the Trev Alberts story at the beginning of the week. And two, Lee Sterling picked Texas A&M to go to the Final Four.
He picked Duquesne, too. I'm eating crow with Lee because I told him to save the juice and bet me. Took me down. Now I got a job at a car wash to pay off the debt.
His Final Four adds up to 14, Lee.
Women's tournament also getting underway. By the way, they start before noon. Michigan State, North Carolina. How about that? So they're playing in both the men's and the women's tourney.
David, you will like this too. Michigan State's new president came from North Carolina. So there's that going on as well.
Last game of the night in the women's tournament's A&M Nebraska. So they're playing on the men's and women's side as well. The committee put them against one another in both the men's and women's tournaments. How beautiful is that? Total coincidence, right? Yeah. Total. Florida State in action at 5:30 today. They're an underdog in an 8-9 women's game to Alabama. FGCU, the other Florida school in the tournament, they play, I think, 4 o'clock tomorrow. Yeah, 4 o'clock. Right. Against Oklahoma in a 5-12 matchup. They've won 3 games as a 12 in their history, including each of the last 2 years. And they're getting 7.5. Just saying. You can make your boost play just as long as you put some money on FGCU.
It's already in
tomorrow. Okay,
good.
good.
That went in a few days ago.
Good. All right. We bet women's NIT. We bet the tournament. We're delinquents. We place our bets. So that's what we got. Okay, come on now. $20. You got to pick an upset.
Grand Canyon.
So that's yours.
Yeah, you want me to pick a upset? I will.
No. That's a 12. That's good. That's fine. I need you to pick an upset. Trent, $20. One upset. By seeding.
Western Kentucky.
Whoa. Your one upset's going to be a 15?
I've talked myself into it. I didn't pick it in my bracket, and it's too late to change it. So I'm not super confident in it, but I'm going to be locked into that game.
Wow.
David, you have spun straw into gold. I think this is a horrible matchup for Marquette, all things considered. Yes, they got the kid back. Who knows? I know we got inside track with our guests letting us know that he's all right.
Yep. Marquette's going to the Final Four. Just to spite the two of you.
Shaka Smart, 1-7 in his last 8 tournament games. 1-7.
All right. It's funny. I think this team, actually, if they can get past the first round, I don't think Duke wants any part of Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin will push Duke all over the court. I don't think Duke's a tough team. I mean, you have former Duke players saying they're not a tough team. I think Duke can be pushed around. I think Wisconsin in the second round would push Duke around. But my upset, $20, give me James Madison.
Nice.
Badgers.
We got to get a 12-5.
Well, we don't have to. Didn't get one last year, but I'm betting that we get one this year. We don't go 2 years in a row without a 12 beating a 5. We got 3 shots at it today.
Both James Madison and Grand Canyon getting 5.5 in their respective 12-5 matchups.
Our poll question at that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, and Miller_Moulton. John Calipari's buyout's $33 million. What do you think Kentucky's going to do? Cut him loose? Keep him. The vote, very 50-50.
And a lot of voters.
Yes, and keeping him beginning to edge out in front. It's not your money. What are you worried about? Bonus hour with guests is next.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I think he's going to be a second-round pick, and I like him. I think he's going to be a good pro. I think he could be a very good pro. In fact, I think Ricky Pearsall's one of the 2 or 3 receivers that teams who aren't going to take a receiver in the first round are hoping they can get in the second.
So when do you have lunch since you've had breakfast and lunch this morning?
I haven't had lunch this morning.
Well, yeah, you had cereal and then you just had 3 pieces of pizza. That would be lunch.
Well, first off, I've only had 2. I will have the third, though, probably during the next commercial break.
What time will you do lunch?
Lunch. Probably a late lunch, probably halftime of the UAB Northwestern game. It'll be more towards 1 o'clock. I mean, when you get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock, you find yourself eating lunch at like 11:30.
No. I lot of 11 o'clock lunches, David.
Yep.
No. I just might have to go get an empanada.
You know, Feeney, I'm wondering, a lot of people think the Chiefs are going to take a receiver, but they've got that speedster from Texas who ran the fastest 40 time ever. They have him going to the Chiefs at 32.
Not at all. Not disgusted or jealous. I just he's knocked down breakfast and lunch this morning. I'm a little jealous. I'll admit it, a little bit.
I will say it was 3 hours apart. I mean, I had the cereal right before the show starting. So
It's rude to eat in front of other people.
I've been told that, but I don't know what to do here. You know, we have to produce content for our Twitch audience, and so I could either do more talking, and I don't think people want to hear more of that. Or I could do more eating. At least they go, what's he eating?
It was from Little Caesars. That's why I'm only kind of jealous.
Yeah. It's just
thinking about buying that pizza oven, though, that's been on TikTok that I can get for like $80.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Where are you going to put it?
It's portable.
Okay.
All right, we got Smesko, and here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when, about 35 minutes away. There are two women's basketball programs that have won 25 or more games, 14 consecutive seasons. One of them is UConn. The other is FGCU. We don't have Gino Oriema's number. So Karl Smesko joins us now, back in the NCAA tournament. I think it's 11 out of 13 times they have won the ASUN title. They're taking on Oklahoma, 4 o'clock tomorrow in a 5-12 matchup. Coach, it's David and Mark. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Well, we're doing fine. First off, before we get into the matchup, you know, I thought your best coaching job was in 2017 because you had to replace everybody, and including like your top three off the bench, and you won the conference that year. Well, didn't you just replace all 5 starters this year?
We did. You know, we lost a lot of really talented players off last year's team, and fortunately we were able to recruit some really talented players, and the returning players we had did the most with their opportunities this year.
How much better are you now than you were in November, Karl?
Well, in November, you know, we were getting to know each other and learning how to play FGCU basketball, but we also didn't have Imani Jefferson, who's the conference player of the year and defensive player of the year. She didn't get her eligibility certified till after, I think it was game 9, something like that. So she makes a huge difference for us as well. And other players, like I'll use Sophia Person as an example. Like the second half of the season, she's been at an all-conference level. Sometimes it just takes a few weeks and a few games to really understand the system and how to play it. And we've definitely gotten better as the season's gone on.
For what it's worth, from afar, you got my attention. You played Iowa in that Gulf Coast showcase, and they took it to you. And then you had to come back and play top 20 North Carolina the very next day on a neutral court, and you beat them. Did that tell you something about this group too?
Yeah, that was definitely a big win for us because we beat North Carolina without the conference player of the year. definitely the Iowa game, they were exceptional. And it was one of those games where, it's probably Iowa's best game of the season. They shot 60% from three, made 20 of them. We even did a pretty decent job on the National Player of the Year, Clark, but the other players just were extraordinary. So we kind of went in with that mindset, letting our players know that, they took it to us really good. They're a great team, but we have another opportunity today. And our players just made the most of it. And I think that gave them a lot of confidence after they beat North Carolina.
All right, Oklahoma. What do you know about this team? Obviously, you're scouted. You're ready for them. What does Oklahoma present that makes them the most difficult?
Well, you're talking about the Big 12 regular season champions, and I understand they're a 5 seed, but they're like us. They have a lot of new players in different roles, and they went through December and had some setbacks in December. But if you started the season in January and just seeded over the last 2 months, they would be a 2 seed at worst. I mean, just a couple weeks ago, they beat Texas, who's the number 1 seed, to win the regular season Big 12 championship. They're really well coached. They play to each other's strengths. They really work well together. It's not just, the set plays. They know how to just play together and create scoring opportunities. And they're one of the fastest paced teams in the country. I mean, they're 60% of their shots come in the first 9 seconds of the clock, and they scored the fourth most points in transition this season. So they definitely pose a unique problem with the way they play. But we're going to be as prepared as possible, and I think we'll play well.
Yeah, but you're a very good defensive team, aren't you? Like, for just once again, from afar, I try to watch what I can and crunch in numbers and box scores. You guys seem as if this team defensively is very good, but maybe not quite the 3-point shooting team of past teams. Would that be a fair scout?
Well, we didn't shoot the three at as good a percentage for sure. And, part of that is we're missing Madeline Antonucci for the second half of the season. But, we've been pretty good defensively, pretty solid. Now, Oklahoma plays kind of a different style. They're trying to score before they get into their offense, really. Their transition is a large part of their offense. And they're not just running sets where you can just, blow up their plays at a certain spot or through your preparation, just make it extraordinarily difficult. They just have a lot more random old school motion type concepts, which just means everybody's got to do their job and your communication becomes even so much more important. But no, we're going to have to slow them down and try to get them to take some tough twos, and hopefully we can get out and transition ourselves.
When you're trying to stop them in transition, does that mean, one less person to crash the offensive glass, or does that mean attack the offensive glass even more to keep them away from the transition game?
Well, those are the decisions you have to make for sure. How many people are you going to put on the glass? Some people send everybody back, but then really just everybody gets a running start and you don't really slow them down at all. So I think you have to have a combination where everybody knows their role, who's supposed to be back, in what situations, who's supposed to crash, so you still have the opportunity to get a few extra possessions. And, some of it's dependent on the lineup on the floor at the time. I don't think there's a benefit to sending someone who maybe isn't a very good offensive rebounder and now they're just chasing a play from behind. So, we have a lot of versatility with our lineups in terms of what, there may be 4 guards at a time, or maybe we have a bigger lineup where we could crash more people. So a lot of it will be who's on the floor at that given time.
Karl Smesko, the women's basketball coach at FGCU, conference champions once again, back in the tournament, taking on Oklahoma tomorrow, 4:00, scheduled for ESPN News. I'm sure you could go to ESPN Plus and get it as well. How concerned are you with experience come the NCAA tournament? Or do you think once the first 2 minutes goes by that's overrated? Because like you said, 5 new starters from a year ago. Your bench is pretty experienced because you've been in the tournament here all these years. But I'm just curious your thoughts. Do the first 2-3 minutes with a group that hasn't been in this situation, is that a big concern or not really?
Well, you obviously it's an advantage if you have experience in any situation, but I think what for us is a lot of times in our conference, because we're the team that likes to get out in transition the most, usually in conference teams really like to slow it down and try to control the pace that way by limiting the number of possessions. And so for us, the big adjustment is you go from conference for 2 months and now you're playing at Oklahoma's not going to slow it down ever, no matter what. So now you've got to be used to the pace of the game. And sometimes that takes, you try to do it in practice, but sometimes that takes 3 or 4 minutes just to get used to the speed this game is going to get played at. So, you're hoping that you can start the game off well and you're ready for just the difference in the speed that's going to be there.
Final question. You get paired up against schools and sometimes gut feeling is, I kind of like this matchup. And sometimes you go, I don't know, this is a good matchup for us. Now that you've had a few days to sink your teeth into it, how do you feel about the matchup?
Well, I mean, it's definitely a tough matchup. We've never been in a situation where we're playing a Power 5 regular season champion in the first round. But I will tell you that, I stopped trusting my opinion on those things and we're playing Missouri because I was really silly talking to my assistants beforehand. And there's probably about 15, 20 teams that we could have been matched up against. And I said, anybody but Missouri. I don't want to see Missouri. And that's the team that showed up. And, I think it kind of like the assistants are like, oh, no, that must be a terrible matchup for us. But we ended up winning that game. So that's when I stopped thinking, like, I knew how the matchup was going to play out. It's really going to be the players. Like, that's the great thing about March Madness. Like, I'm sure you guys watch Oakland, Kentucky last night. Somebody goes off for 10 threes and has a magical moment. We're hoping to capture a little bit of that magic over the next week or two.
Thanks for making time for us. Good luck tomorrow. We'll be watching, and hopefully we can talk to you next week.
All right. Hey, thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Karl
Coach.
Smesko, women's basketball coach at FGCU. 29 wins this year. That's all. Had to replace
Hard
all
not to
5
root for him.
starters.
He's a solid dude.
Yes, he is. And we like
Really
his
good
taste
coach.
of music.
Well, he's a metalhead. That's the only thing I was going to ask him is what band is this team? But then I didn't think we had enough time left in the interview for him to go through that process.
Well, no, because he will break that down with far more detail than he did the silly basketball questions that we asked him. I mean, you'd be hitting him right where he lives if you start comparing his team to bands.
Queensryche, right? Who
It's
is
over.
this team in his world?
Yeah, it's over. I don't know if we get to the good, the bad, and the ugly. He would just be on a roll. He'd push practice back 20 minutes, and he never pushes practice back.
I was amazed we asked him a question about rebounding that he actually gave an honest answer. Usually Karl's like, would you two shut up with your strategy? I want to hear nothing from you two about that.
I've been answering your dumb questions for 20 years. And it's bad enough I had to answer Moulton pregame, halftime, and post. Okay? Enough. I know you don't know anything about basketball. You by now know you don't know anything about basketball. We got your picks yesterday. Everybody knows you don't know anything about basketball.
9-7, both of us.
That's right. That's not against the spread. That's just winners.
Straight up.
We suck. But we know it. There's another one for the t-shirt. Miller and Moulton. We suck, but at least we know it.
Our merchandise has merchandise. They'll never be available to the public, but
no.
We'll keep making t-shirts. Miller and Moulton. Thanks for listening.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
If you're in love and thinking about a diamond, you'll want to hear from my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When purchasing a diamond, you deserve a relaxed, stress-free, and educational experience. You want to have a good time and feel comfortable. You want selection, quality, and value.
At the Diamond District, you'll get it all. With our team of non-commissioned diamond advisors, no one's in a rush. We care only about you and making sure your needs and wishes are fulfilled.
You'll be wowed by our selection of GIA certified diamonds, stunning diamond bracelets, earrings, pre-owned Rolex watches, exotic ruby, sapphire, emerald, and tanzanite jewelry. There's something for everyone at the Diamond District, and all at the lowest prices anywhere.
Jason and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Somebody wanted a scouting report. Little Caesars, 18 hours old, extra most bestest pepperoni, which is basically double pep.
Did you guys try the shakaroni thing?
No. No.
Oh.
Is that a Papa John's thing?
Yes.
Yeah, I love Shaq. Don't do Papa John's.
Excuse me?
You do Little
You're eating
Caesars.
Little Caesars, but I won't eat Pop.
Okay, listen, don't get me wrong. I'm poor white trash eating pizza here, but the Little Caesars is better than Papa John's. Papa John's pizza is not good. Now, let's say now maybe they've made some adjustments here in recent years, but it's not good.
No, it's not good. It's chain pizza. Neither's Little Caesars.
I'm not saying it is.
And Deadstroke, you can get it like literally on TikTok. I've seen it for as low as $80.
See, here's my thing. If you're buying chain pizza, and this may be faulty strategy, all right, buy the cheapest. Because it's chain pizza. I mean, come on. It's only going to be so good. And yeah, I understand Pizza Hut or Domino's might be a little bit better, but I mean, it's twice as much. So I've
been watching other people cook with them on TikTok, Deadstroke. I'm fascinated by this thing. Fascinated.
Is this Ebling or Ebling?
He's not in the room. We'll have to ask him when he comes back.
Okay. Do you know this guy?
No.
Really? I figured you would.
Yeah, so
Is it Ebling or Ebling?
Ebling.
Ebling.
And he was with the Lansing State Journal for like 20 years, covered Judd, then left that and did radio now for 20 plus
In
years.
Detroit or in Lansing?
In Lansing.
He does
Great buddies with Izzo. He covers all the Detroit events, everything. And his X handle is Drive with Jack, all lowercase.
Oh, we got it.
Yep. It's not on the Shane train, but it's solid. It's better than the David Moulton. I'll tell you that.
Update from my buddy's wife. Erin went back blank crazy the second half. She's completely done with Cal. She wants Bruce Pearl.
Oh, ho, ho, ho.
Michael, if I were to rank chain pizza, I would put Jets at the top of the list. It's greasy as all hell, but every once in a while when I need a grease bomb, I go Jets.
All right. I'll have to check it out.
I love Jets. Love it. Because I like the deep dish, like not deep
Yeah,
dish. but
it's deep dish. It's Pizza Hut-esque, only it's square.
yeah. What are your thoughts on Chicago deep dish pizza?
Hate it.
Not a fan.
It's not pizza. Go listen to Jon Stewart's breakdown of Chicago pizza.
It's spectacular. If you need a knife and a fork, the defense rests. We also get Little Caesars. A, closest pizza place to the house. B, they don't use eggs in any way, shape, or form. Our granddaughter has a pretty severe allergic reaction to anything eggs.
Oh, wow.
So we had to investigate, which places don't, and they don't. So that's another reason why.
By the way, so I sent back a text that Moulton wants them to bring Patino back, and his response was, Aaron mentioned him too.
There you go. Now we're talking. Now we're serious.
That's Bruce Pearl, Rick Pitino. That's pretty serious.
You're damn right it is. Well, there's nothing more serious than if you went back to Rick Pitino. It would be the best. I would send money to Kentucky if they did it. Not that they need it, but I would just want to show my support.
What about Roy Williams? He did Kansas. He did UNC.
He's retired.
Check it off.
He's retired.
I know.
If you walk away from the North Carolina job, you're done. When you've got that job for life and you decide, you're done.
Okay, Jack is on, and here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when some final picks and bets and what have you coming up in a little more than 15 minutes time. Jack Ebling, longtime writer in Lansing for the Lansing State Journal. Now he's been doing the sports radio thing for a long time as well. He hosts The Drive with Jack, and you can follow him on X at Drive with Jack. Jack, it's David and Mark. Thanks for your time. How are you?
Hey, guys. We're doing great here. Big day yesterday for the state of Michigan. Michigan State got a win over Mississippi State by 18. Oakland is the toast of the college basketball world, defeating Big Blue Nation, and Michigan didn't lose.
Well, obviously, Oakland is the big story. It came out of nowhere for everybody. Did it come out of nowhere for the people in Michigan?
Well, it only took 40 years for Greg Kampe to pull one of these off, but he is such an endearing figure that everyone is pulling for him. And we saw this Oakland team do some pretty interesting things, but when you saw Kentucky, how good it could be, it was a reach to think that Golden Grizzlies were going to do this. But how often does the guy make 10 threes in an NCAA tournament game? And he's an interesting story when you think that played 5 years at Hillsdale and then transfers in, and now he's a national story.
Well, the leading rusher in the SEC this year was a D2 kid as well, who played his one final year of eligibility at Missouri, and nobody in the SEC could stop him. I mean, Jack, let's face it, there's some bad recruiting going on, right?
I got to tell you a great Kampe story. About 2 weeks ago, he decided he was going to have a little fun with people and showed up at a local McDonald's and worked the drive-through window. And one woman ordered a Big Mac, and he unwrapped it and took a bite out of it and then said, "Yeah, it's pretty good. You should finish it." That's kind of the way the guy is wired. And he has done so much for cancer here and brings in 10 of the top coaches around the country every year. and some well-heeled boosters and fans of teams bid to spend the day with them. And they do a Vegas casino kind of thing and a golf outing, and they raise boatloads of money. This is all his idea. And I was thinking he could get just about any coach in the country to do this. Now he'll get any coach he wants.
Well, except John Calipari. Okay, I mean, John might
You know what?
sit it out.
John is one of his best friends. That's the funny part. And Calipari's been up here almost every year for this.
And last night they beat Calipari. Oakland with the huge win. Campy getting his first ever tournament win.
Yeah.
And now Oakland moves on to play NC State, who upset had a big upset in their game against Texas Tech. So now it's an 11-14. Right. So the Sweet 16 is a possibility for Oakland.
Yes.
I mean, it's a realistic possibility. Obviously, this team can shoot it. I mean, they knew that going in. Everything went in last night, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we joke with Greg. Here he is. I think he's the second losingest coach in NCAA history, and you got to be really good to lose that many games.
Right.
But, he's won a boatload, and when he plays Michigan State next year, Oakland and the Spartans play every year, it'll be 2 700-win coaches going at it.
That is remarkable. Let's talk Michigan State. They made some shots yesterday. I thought, Mississippi State couldn't put the ball in the ocean. That helped.
Right.
But obviously we're trying to look ahead. To me, I thought on one side of the ball, Jack, if you will, I thought offensively, if they can play like that and cut their turnovers down a smidge, I think offensively they may have a chance.
Yeah, a chance. I don't think anyone's going to take out a second mortgage to bet them.
Right.
But I also think Armando Bacot could improve his draft status in this game tomorrow. But Michigan State has done crazy things like this before. You know the story about Izzo having the most wins in the tournament as a lower seed. This is 17 of them now, 2 more than Jim Boeheim. The joke here is, why are you a lower seed with, the 4th-ranked team in the country at the start of the season? You shouldn't be a 9 seed. But this is 56 NCAA tournament wins for Tom Izzo, and no one else has had 26 of them in a row in terms of tournament appearances.
Do you see their bigs being good enough? I mean, they've got 4 of them, but they don't defend that well. Do their bigs have any shot against North Carolina?
If they let them all be out there at the same time. So each one can do something. That means that there are 3 things that each of them can't do. So I don't know. It depends how North Carolina plays. If North Carolina plays well, Michigan State won't win. But Michigan State is capable of making teams not play well. We saw that when they blasted Baylor. We talk about another 3 seed, and they were up 30 in that game. So Michigan State on the right day can be a very dangerous team if these guards all show up and Malik Hall plays the way he can. It's kind of drawing to an inside straight, but I think Michigan State has a chance.
He's Jack Ebling. He hosts The Drive with Jack in afternoons in the Lansing, Michigan area. He was a longtime writer for the Lansing State Journal. Hey, you're friendly with both Izzo and Campy. How long do you think they keep doing this? They both obviously can still do it, but just your gut feeling, they're both in their late 60s now. How long do you think they keep doing it?
Campy had a near-death experience in 2017 with sepsis and wondered if he would keep coaching, but he seems invigorated. He's lost a lot of weight. He's an incredible walker. So I don't know. I think after this, it's going to be hard to shut him up unless he's going to go into television or, just open his own McDonald's. Izzo, I think he's driven to win another championship. Don't know if he will do that. If he does, it'll be the longest gap between NCAA tournaments for any coach. But now he's getting the sons of his 2000 champions showing up on campus. So I think he wants to coach them, and it'd be one hell of a family reunion if they could win another championship.
Jack, we got about 30 seconds. If you were Jack Golke, the kid who hit the 10 threes, do you want to go into insurance, car dealership, or a chain of restaurants? Because I got to think after last night, he's going to have a good life.
They're going to name them the Golke Grizzlies after what they did last night. I just want to tell you guys how lucky you are to have Trent Valley down there as your producer. If you ever get really sick of all of this Detroit stuff, send them back up here.
I didn't pay him to say that either.
Will do. Jack, we agree. And thanks for making time for us. Have a great show today, and hopefully we can do this again.
Anytime, guys. Take care.
Jack Ebling, kind enough to join us with insight, tight with both Izzo and Campy.
You really got that insurance lined up for
I think his life's over. I do. He can do it. He can just name it. He could just name it. There's money in that area, as you guys know. Come on now. He could just say, listen, I'm thinking a chain of restaurants. What do you think? Golke's Diner. We open up a bunch of them.
everything's $3 on the menu. 10 items, $3 or less.
$3.33. Right.
I like the 10 items thing too.
So that's all. Miller and Moulton. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when some picks sure to go wrong. It's all coming up.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hi, I'm Jason.
And I'm Todd with the Diamond District. I believe in complete transparency. If you're shopping for diamonds in Naples, you're paying too much. If you're shopping in the Cape or Fort Myers, you also won't see the selection you deserve to have. If you're online, there's no human connection, and you won't know if your diamond is beautiful or not until it shows up in the mail.
Just because it's GIA certified doesn't mean it's brilliant. There's so much more to a diamond than its cut, color, and clarity that makes it beautiful. Visit us at the Diamond District for a non-commissioned and educational presentation, and quit paying more in Naples or buying blind from the internet. The Diamond District has the rarest diamonds from half carat to 10 carats. You won't find a bigger selection or better value.
And you won't find a better buying experience. Jason and I are in the store nearly every day, and we look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. That should be the end of golf for today.
Any news on the soccer tournament?
Not yet. Got to do a promo.
Oh,
We're rolling whenever you guys are ready.
give me 5 seconds. Coming up Monday on Miller and Moulton.
Our brackets are already broken. Are yours?
Of course they are. They're toast.
Miller and Moulton. Saving your brackets. Monday, 6 a.m.
Excellent.
Tell you what, the trials and tribulations of Stetson Bennett. Notice the Rams haven't said a word about him.
Right.
It's got to be, I'm guessing, substance abuse.
Absolutely.
Well, do you remember him in
Yep,
that
the
interview?
drunken incident
Yes.
a year ago at this time. He was looking for his friend, 7 o'clock in the morning on the streets. Right. Joe, leftover pizza for breakfast is outstanding. Outstanding. So what are our plays today?
We
We're
don't
gonna
have
ride the Gators. It's basically a pick 'em.
You know I like the
So a
Gators.
7's-1, a 7's-1, and a 7's-1, and you guys are going to want to take the other 7. I think that's just insanity right there.
Well, why? But 3 11s have won, and we're taking the other 11. So we're going with 7-11.
Oh, the account has dipped under what we started at for the first time. We were 85 cents in the poll. That's because I bet Florida Atlantic. All right, New Mexico's lane 2.5. You want New Mexico?
Well, I want Florida. Whatever else you want to do, you do.
I want Florida. Done. You got Florida. You want Florida? You got Florida. The loudest band in the land, Kiss.
You want the Gators? You got the Gators. So you bet FAU, huh?
Yeah, with the
3.5?
boost. No, money line.
Oh.
They moved the money line to -110.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
$22 minutes till the top of the hour. 16 until we are done. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Man, we had a lively show today. A lot of guests.
Our guests had guests today, David.
Yeah, we just, a lot of college hoop. And oh, by the way, Pat Kirwan. Yeah. So there, you miss any of it? Including Karl Smesko and Jack Ebling earlier on this Diamond District bonus hour. Pat Kirwan in the 8 o'clock hour. And Jerel McNeal, former Marquette standout with a field of 68, talking plenty of college hoops. And I don't know if he gave us some breaking news or whatever, but as a Marquette alum, he said, yeah, people I've been talking to, the point guard's ready to go. Has had a good week of practice. So, okay. All right.
Both Moulton and Trent Valley calling for the Western Kentucky upset today over Marquette.
I do like the points. If I were to, like you and we've each had a bet. Okay. You took FAU on the money line, and I said we're betting the Gators. If there's another one that you really like, then mine is give me the points in Western Kentucky.
No, I can do that because yesterday I bet Illinois without really consulting you. I just sent you a text and said we just bet Illinois.
I know, but you won.
I know, but I already did it. So
Speaking of which, did you see the Arizona Long Beach State bad beat 20.5? Arizona, takes the guys out late and what have you. Guy only makes one of 2 free throws. Kid misses a driving layup with 20 seconds to go. They only win by 20. Yeah. Not that anybody's paying attention or anything.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Again, not a lot today, but there's some stuff. 1790 we start. Thomas Jefferson becomes the first Secretary of State. Seemed to work out well.
Yeah, it actually did.
1870, Ohio State University is founded. Notice I said how it was founded.
Right.
Ohio State University is founded.
When did they change their name?
Not for a long time. Today in 1933, FDR signs the Cullen-Harrison Act, making the sale of beer and wine legal. Elvis released All Shook Up today in 57. UCLA beats Purdue today in 69. This guy named Alcindor named most outstanding player for the 3rd consecutive year.
That's the only time Purdue has made the title game.
Congress approves the Equal Rights Amendment today in 72.
Yeah, but it was never ratified, was it?
No.
Still to this day.
Correct. And 2 things happened sports-wise in 89. Pete Rozelle retires. And hockey fans will remember this was the day that Clint Malarchuk suffered the near-fatal injury, getting cut by the skate blade and nearly dying on the ice. Changed the protective gear for goaltenders because of that incident. Karl Malden and Stephen Sondheim, both born today. William Shatner's 93, David.
And his hairpiece is 64.
Andrew Lloyd Webber is 76. So is Wolf Blitzer. Reese Witherspoon is 48. Joey Porter's 47. And J.J. Watt's 35.
Reese is 48, huh?
Yeah. Exactly. Thinking the same thing, David. The exact same thing.
Sounds like she's got a couple fans. Well, there's a few sports things that happened today. First women's college basketball game was played today in 1893. First Stanley Cup championship was played today in 1894. Don't think it was called the Stanley Cup at the time, but you know. Also, first Masters today in 34. 90 years ago today. The Masters. Also, 11
On
years
CBS, sorry.
Yes. A tradition unlike any other. Also, 11 years ago today, Dunk City was born. And it was a Friday in Philadelphia. Happened at around 8 o'clock at night. Because it was a dreadful first half. It was 24-22 FGCU. And then FGCU scored 7 points. And then Georgetown scored 9. So it's 31 all. It's like, oh, okay. Giving them a game. And then it happened. 21-2. 5 high-flying dunks, throw in a couple threes. Harlan, Reggie Miller, Len Elmore losing their minds. And there hadn't been a single upset of any kind the first 3 sessions of the tournament. All day and night Thursday and all day Friday. The tournament had no juice. And then it happened. $11 years ago today.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Ontario for the good, where the Brampton Animal Services said in a Facebook post that personnel responded to a call about a skunk in distress. They arrived to find the animal had a jar stuck over its head. They were able to remove the jar, safely secure the skunk, and the skunk was released at the scene. For the bad, we go to Cape Coral, where a man who owns a Pokemon card shop in Cape Coral has been arrested for stealing trading cards from a Walmart in Highlands County. Matthew Foster was caught by Walmart security stealing Pokemon cards that he would later try to resell at his own store. $751 worth of cards caused him a grand theft arrest. Way to go, jackass.
Gotta catch them all.
My daughter loves those Pokemon cards, too. I have no idea why. What a tremendous waste of money.
I was big into them.
Were you?
Yep. When I was a kid.
Yeah, okay. Still have them?
No.
Oh,
They'd probably be worth a lot.
they would be.
You never get rid of that stuff.
Well, I don't even know what happened to them.
Your mother probably threw them away. That's what happened to mine. My mother threw away all my baseball cards because they were lying on the floor. She's proud of it to this day. She thinks she did the right thing.
She didn't. You made a mistake, Mom.
You're damn right you did.
Congratulations on Duquesne. You screwed up with the cards.
For the ugly, we go to Lee County, where SunPass customers are getting bills in the mail from Leeway. Apparently, if you're going from Fort Myers to Cape Coral, they've been overcharging you.
Really? This affects me.
This has caused people to be charged $5 instead of $2 when going over any toll bridge from Fort Myers to Cape Coral.
That has literally been happening to me. I swear. I thought that was fishy. Jeez.
So what do you do?
Apparently,
do you just wait for the refunds to arrive in the mail, or do you have to do something?
Call customer service and ask for a service request. Some cases, this means you can get your fees waived. But they're ripping you off. Damn tollways.
By a lot.
That is the good, the bad, and the ugly. Today, March the 22nd, 2024.
Once again, the NHL is a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday league. Today's a Friday. So there's only 4 games. One that interests both of our teams, though, since this show is either a Wings fan or a Rangers fan, Carolina's in Washington. I want Washington to win because, well, trying to fend off the Canes. You want the Canes to win because, well, the Caps are trying to chase down the Wings for the final playoff spot.
And I'm torn because I've got money on Philadelphia missing the playoffs, so I really need Washington to catch the Flyers.
Yes, you do. So that's the key game there. NBA tonight. They're still actually going ahead with the association, which, no one's going to pay any attention nationally. The Heat are hosting the Pelicans a night after the Magic beat them by 15. Trent, you going to take the Pistons in 13.5 at home against the Celtics?
No.
Okay.
That line should be 19.5.
Okay. Good deal there. All right. Probably best game of the night, Cleveland's at Minnesota, 8 o'clock on NBA TV. So, and then there's the tournament. Women's tournament also getting underway. In fact, the first women's game's at 11:30, I believe, Mark. In fact, it starts on your AM Sports Network.
Then we have to give the rights to ESPN at noon when we go off the air.
Well, I'm curious. Do you at least carry it to halftime? I think you should carry it to there's a stoppage in play. At the very least. Either that or the under 5 timeout in the second quarter.
That sounds about right. That's, I think, all we'll get, David. We'll get probably the first quarter and a little bit of the second.
And then the first media timeout of the second quarter, Mark's network will pass it over to ESPN2, and they'll take Michigan State, North Carolina the rest of the way. Remember, FGCU tomorrow, 4 o'clock against Oklahoma. If they win their first-round tournament game for the third year in a row, they would face the winner of Indiana Fairfield, which actually takes place before their game, and it's at Assembly Hall in Bloomington.
So they'll play Indiana if they win.
In all likelihood, although Fairfield's fascinating. They're 31-1. They have the second longest winning streak in the country. FGCU is the third. South Carolina's unbeaten. They're the longest. Fairfield's won 29 in a row. FGCU, I believe, has won 24 in a row. Don't quote me.
Well, good luck to Karl, Smesko, and the Lady Eagles tomorrow as they take on Oklahoma, trying to get another tournament win for FGCU.
They've got 4. Have never made it to the Sweet 16, but they have 4 tournament wins. 2015, they were actually a 7 seed once. In 2015, they were a 7 seed. They beat a team they were supposed to beat, Oklahoma State.
But they're seated about where they're supposed to be this year, aren't they? I mean, maybe a little higher, maybe a 10, but this isn't.
What's interesting is they were the 7 seed in 2015. They've done nothing but win since. They've never been given a seed better than 11 all the rest of their years. 4 years ago or 4 tournaments ago, they were an 11 facing Michigan in a 6-11 matchup, and that Michigan team went to the Elite 8. But they've been 12s, 13s, and 14s basically since beating Oklahoma State. It's really strange. So they give them the great seed, they win, and then they go, yeah, we ain't never doing that again.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Yeah, we ain't doing that.
But it's the same thing that the men's mid-majors have. FGCU is a mid-major in women's. They're a low major in men's. It's just the way it is.
Yes.
But they have difficulty scheduling games. No one in the state of Florida will play them. Nobody.
No.
I mean, the fact that Kentucky schedules them on a regular basis is, well, their coach is fired, so that's done.
Well, exactly. I mean, he helped get her fired. So that ain't going to happen anymore. And for whatever reason, Duke, Carol Lawson's been willing to do home and homes with Karl. Good for her.
But no one in state.
Right. So there you have it. Mark is, Mark doesn't think that 4 11s are going to win.
And I picked New Mexico.
And 3 11s won yesterday. So now Mark thinks Clemson's winning today because of what happened yesterday. That doesn't sound absurd or anything, does it? As a premise?
And the 10s are going to go winless? I'm worried about your Gators, Trent. I'm worried about your Gators.
But would you have been worried, all right, if one of the 7s had won yesterday?
Not as worried. No, I wouldn't.
So it's more of a
law of probability. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
But remember, the 5s went 4-0 last year. There were no 12s that won last year. And a 12 got blown out yesterday. That means a 12 is going to win today, right? By your logic, a 12 is winning today.
Book it.
Okay.
I'll be monitoring 5-12 games all day, so you'll be expecting a text when we get through 2 of them because we know how the last one's going to turn out.
If a 12 beats a 5, it'll be 33 out of 39 years that it's happened.
UAB, James Madison, Grand Canyon are the 12s.
And I say UAB has the worst chance to win, so that probably means the Blazers will win today. Enjoy the basketball. Have a tremendous weekend. We'll do it all again Monday morning, 6 a.m.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and